Welcome to Gaelica. In our last session, our characters left the mainland of Sail to get to the Red Jade, a ship owned by Captain Kalia Red Sky, one of the player characters you see on screen tonight. They have done this in order to pursue a noble goal given to them by a stranger that they've just met. But it sounds really, objective when I say it. I kind of want to hear it from the perspective of the characters. So if we could just have everybody, I don't know, say in their own words what happened last session, that would be great. And let's just go round same way that we did before, starting with Leora. So what happened in Kalia's own words?
Well, I woke up. I woke up on the Red Jade. We're kind of out of money. Like, not out of money, but like a little out of money. So I went ashore and I was looking for some work. Picked up, helped out a bartender for a while. Did some dishes. Met a fox. Got to see my old friend Trin, who I've been missing for so long because she's great. And then we found this dude. His name was Hollis. He wants me to go free some slaves, and that is the thing that I do. Slavers suck, and I don't like them, and so we're gonna go do that now. And maybe he'll pay us. I should probably check on that.
Sharon.
So recently, I have been seeing how the gods sometimes are very random in what they do. First, Vedan, the god of encyclopedia writers, sent me to find an encyclopedia writer with no directions. So helpful, so helpful. But then, after all that was dealt with, Dun, the god of local law enforcement, sent me on some patrols and I found this fox. He was very competent, okay? So I talked to him and I had this quest from some handsome young man who wants to free some slave, which seems good because I don't currently have a quest from the gods. So I found this fox, I took him to my inventor friend's house. She redecorated a little bit. She put boards on the front or something like that. I don't remember what she is. She's young. She has new fashions, I'm guessing. And we all met up. There was a disreputable looking person there who says that they're a pirate, and I was like, okay, I don't know, whatever. The Mediterranean seems to like them, so I'm like, okay. And then we are on our way on this ship to do some sort of quest. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we keep going.
Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm going to stop the stream real quick just to troubleshoot the audio, and we'll be right back. Yay!
Yeah, tune your bird man. Okay.
We did it. Okay. Fix that. Let's start now from Trin. Trin, tell me about, in your own words, what happened last session.
So Trin woke up early and met with her fish boyfriend to go diving for some salvage, but an unexpected storm kicked up and she had to go back to shore, and so she took shelter in a local tavern and happened to run into Kalia while she was there. And so since Kalia didn't have anywhere to stay, Trin decided to go with Kalia back to her apartment/workshop. However, when she got there, she discovered that her rival had boarded up her shop. He's a nobleman, so he can do things like that. And he put a sign there saying that it was closed. So she just crawled through a hole in her wall and ended up having to make some fancy socks. But yeah, but since Kalia is about to go off on this adventure and her shop's already boarded up, she figured she might as well go off on this adventure as well.
Incredible. And Grant, tell us in Fiddlix's own words what happened last session for you.
Well, Fiddlix demonstrated that he was the most competent food service attendant in the entire town. Proven through a contest which was quantifiable and measurable, and he passed aces in that. Just kidding. It was a whole ploy, so he and they could earn a little bit of money. He and Kalia, and with that, he began roaming the streets at night, and he noticed that he was being followed, and he defended himself and managed to claim a dagger, which Grandma was able to identify as highly dangerous and quite lethal. And not only that, we learned that was a near assassination attempt on his life in the middle of the night. Sorry, there's a Village concert on Friday. And he is determined to follow this motley crew of new and old friends to whatever end, mostly because he's longing for companionship, and he feels in his head that in order for the operation to succeed, he needs to prove that he is the craftiest and most competent and capable fox of all time. However, what he really wants is companionship. He is tired of being sent from place to place, longing for old Mother Fox to find him again. And this is what he learned last session.
Beautiful. Well, everyone, welcome once again to Gaelica. We did leave last session off with these 4 people, plus a gentleman named Hollis, and Trin's wonderful fish boyfriend named Jassix, in a dinghy rowing out to meet the Red Jade and reach their destination, a series of islands to the northeast sector of Sail, this place commonly referred to as Leviathan's Claw. The idea is, in Hollis's own words, meant to present himself as a fellow slave trader. He's already made a deal with a noble woman who he suspects of doing illegal trading activity. This woman he's identified to them as Adriana Akonkonde. He's going to pretend to sell her people in an attempt to get inside of the place and root around for evidence. It's going to be, as he puts it, an in-and-out scenario. He does not actually plan on selling any of them. That would be barbaric and against his beliefs. You all find yourselves on the Red Jade. It's going to take about 3 days of travel to get to your destination. And the sky, as you board the ship, or rather get close to it, you can see as you look out to the right of the starboard of the boat that you're on, you can see that storm, that freak storm that keeps sending up waves and winds. It seems to be almost stationary, simply swirling out there in a haze of darkness.
Well, that seems not normal.
I don't think I've seen weather like this very often. It's not very nice.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Let's see.
Cyclones are not uncommon in this area.
Okay.
But this is a very stationary one. It doesn't seem to move. Even during the hour that you approach your boat, even when you cast the order to set sail.
Meditrina, you know a lot of things. Does this seem familiar to you in any way?
I have seen many cyclones in my time living on these islands, and usually they move. This seems incredibly unnatural, though I'm not sure what would cause something like this.
Yeah.
I want to ask J6, who is a nice young boy. I want to ask him if this, because he lives in the sea, if he can see, if he knows what's happening.
Oh, good question. Jassix points at it, and he's sitting on the side of the boat with his webbed feet in the water, kicking to and fro. And he looks at you and says, well, it's been there for about 2 weeks now.
Well, that doesn't seem very normal.
But it hasn't come to land, and it hasn't moved.
No.
That's
But-
weird, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's weird. Okay. Anybody talking about the fact that that's weird?
Yeah. It's all the rage down in the coral.
Okay. Does it seem dangerous?
Yeah, we haven't been over there. Actually, in fact, it's incredibly dangerous because it's driving out all the dangerous things that are normally over there over to where I live.
Well, that's not good.
Yeah, it's been kind of rough for the past few weeks, but
Yeah. Weird.
just more of an excuse to hang out with Trin, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, I think that after we do this anti-slavery mission, we should just go over there and see what's up.
I think we should go there right now.
I think that sounds like a great idea.
Whew.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that is.
Right, the cyclone.
What? Jasix looks.
Have you been on a
Jasix
boat
looks a
before?
little bit paler, as you mentioned, going over there. And he says, "Well, I guess we could if you really wanted to. I was down for this cutting out a slaver thing."
Oh, yeah. We'll do that first.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So as you board the Red Jade, you're greeted by a bunch of familiar faces. You hear the tiny mews of a pair of cats as they wrap themselves around your legs, Kalia. You're greeted by a couple of younger people from the River family. They look a little bit drenched and dirty. A lot of them are mopping off. It stopped raining because the storm that had been shot off from that cyclone has passed. But they're just happy to see you. From behind, a hooded figure with these glowing eyes just comes up and wraps her arms underneath you and like pulls you tight to her. And she goes, "Kalia, I missed you so much."
Hi, Muriel. It's great to see you. I'm glad that is everybody okay? Because there was a storm and I was with Trin, but kids look dirty. Is everybody cool?
Oh yeah, it was fairly rough, but I think we're all good, except like more vomity than normal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we want to keep the vomit as low as possible, but sometimes zero vomit is not possible. So what are you gonna do?
Nothing.
I always say better out than in.
Yes, this is very true. Oh my gosh, she points at you, Trin. Trin, it has been so long. How are you?
My goodness, Mariel, it is so good to see you. I'm doing so well.
She
and I'm
pounces
so
on
happy.
you and like wraps her arms around you. It has been too long. I have this thing. She pulls out like this thing that kind of looks like a wristwatch. I fell on it. Can you fix it for me?
I definitely can. Here, I take it off of her wrist and stick it in one of my pants pouches so that I can take care of it later while we're sailing.
Great. And as she's gushing to you, you can hear a bunch of clanking coming from down below where the kitchens are, and then one of the exhausts next to you puffs up a bunch of black smoke, and she, without skipping a beat or looking at it, goes, "I need it in the kitchen."
Bye,
And
Mary. Thanks.
And she books it down there.
I look at Grandma and Fidelix and I say, I'll have you meet her later. That's my friend Mary. She cooks and is generally helpful and stops me from doing dumb stuff, which is good.
That seems like a very admirable trait to have in any friend of yours.
It's really true.
Very impressive.
So you meet a few of the other people on board. The River family is of course happy to see you. I believe her name's Karis.
Yeah, that's the baby.
Yeah, there's a 5-year-old running around and chasing the cats. Her hair is tied back into pigtails, and she wears sort of a jumper and a paper hat, though wet and kind of drenched, that looks like a tri-corner hat like Kalia's. And she keeps telling the cats, "Avasti, Avasti," and chasing them around in circles.
She's good. She's very good.
I'm not gonna pick on her anymore. I got nothing.
Who is a little girl, Danny? Could you come to Grandma?
Do you wanna interact with the child?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I click child and say interact.
I'm very intimidating, though. So
yeah, you are, Grandma. I need you to roll a persuasion.
Okay.
It's gonna be a general good nature or charm. Charm might also fit for this. It's gonna be intellectual. Your task difficulty for this one is gonna be, I'm gonna say it's like 2. She's a child. Being nice to her shouldn't be too terrible.
Oh, I succeeded. I got a 10.
Yep. As you go up to her and reach for her, normally your interactions with children lead to them screaming and running away. So when this one just openly accepts you,
I'm surprised.
You are surprised.
Aww.
I'm hugging her, and you guys can see my face, and there's befuddled expression, I'm actually hugging a child. Okay.
Aww.
Yep.
Go for broke. I'm gonna pull out one of my rabbit carcass puppets. And I'm trying to bring it into the child. I'll be like, "Hi, hello, how are you, little?" I actually hold it in front of my mouth so she can't see my snoot moving up and down.
That's awful.
Come in. How are you doing, child? Have you ever met a dumb bunny before?
Oh no.
Give me just a moment because I need to just sort of internalize how this child feels about 1, foxes, but 2, dead bunnies being put in her face.
In her face.
Yeah. So this is going to be same thing. It's going to be a charm check. I'm going to bump up that difficulty to a 3. She's still impressionable. Maybe she'll think it's cute. But this kind of comes off as alarming to me personally. So
Yeah.
True. And just to end the deal, I make the voice even more obnoxious and terrifying. No. And let's roll. And so for you viewers at home that want to see my roll, there we go.
What'd you get?
A 12.
Oh, you passed.
And I kind of come in, and it's just kind of like, have you ever heard the story of the dumb little bunnies that were outsmarted by the cleverest fox in the land? I don't know. Has she ever heard that story? And
she looks to her mom and she goes, "Mom, have I heard that story?"
Yeah, Mom. Has she heard it? If she hasn't, why hasn't she? I'm getting ready to toss the rabbit puppet.
Oh, Felix. The mom says no, and then beckons for you to go on. She's trying to do her work, and anybody else that she can get as a babysitter for the moment is perfect for her.
And I am a phenomenal babysitter. What with my enthralling abilities, my highly trained interaction skills, and the fact that I'm like if you went to Showbiz Pizza in the 80s or Chuck E. Cheese, I'm like a guy in a suit. Except I'm going to eat the cat she's playing with.
Many people are also afraid of those animatronics.
And I might share them with her. Get her on my side.
But yeah, you can enthrall her with your tales.
I'm going to let her know. I'm not going to use the enthrall ability, but I'm going to explain how bunnies sometimes are very dumb in the morning. They go out and they look for things like carrots. And in order to find a carrot, they stick their heads down into the ground and they root down to pull it up. But that's when the most cleverest creature in the land, the fox, normally does its thing. And then I bite the puppet. And then I shake it around a little bit. And then I pull it into my gullet. And then I hide it kind of in the side of my mouth. Then flash a dashing smile. And then I turn and horf it up. So I can save it again for later.
She's absolutely mesmerized by it, and she's gonna pull out a rag that she has and start fashioning it into a terrible knot with like bunny ears and then just stuff it into her mouth.
Like, pull out
I
a couple
start clapping. I'm like, very good, very good. Educating the youth of tomorrow is a very noble task we should all take part in. Very good, very good.
I agree. And what that little rag needs is a couple of eyes. Kind of reach in, pull out a couple of shiny coins, and I'm just going to say, all right, so now you want to affix these here, and let your rabbit be a reminder to you to be clever like a fox and not dumb like a bunny. And with that, I also pull a coin out of my ear and give it to her. Yes.
Kalia, watching all this, turns to Trin and goes, well, I mean, I guess I taught her to be a pirate, so
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, you know, every good pirate needs some treasure. And so I
That is
reach
true.
into my pants pouch and pull out a handful of colorful sea glass and offer it to the little girl.
Aw.
Aw. You don't need to make a check for that. She's going to take it. And
Everybody now has a 5-year-old friend.
Yep. Karis is your friend forever. It's Karis River.
And Fiddlix will never forget it. He cherishes friends, and he will make note of this.
Grandma might forget it, but
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
So for the rest of the day, Hollis kind of runs you ragged, showing you all of the maps that he has on him in his special leather-bound, one-of-a-kind book, showing you the different sorts of winds that you need to pick up in order to get to this claw to begin with. It's a little bit difficult, but for some reason it's been... he's under the impression that that maybe the storm has made it easier to get there. Winds that normally aren't in play are.
Okay.
So that is a thing that's going on. So he gives you the coordinates to hit at not speeds, but the angles to do so. And he's gonna leave it to you. He doesn't actually know how to work the actual steering mechanism. He just knows about the navigation aspect of it. So he's going to leave it to you to take them there.
Cool.
Which might require some navigation checks.
Yeah, I have
Coming up
a
in a little bit.
geography skill.
Mhm.
Will that help me here?
Yes.
If I need.
Yes, you can definitely key out your geography skill to understand what he's talking about. And then the navigation check will key off of that.
Okay. Sorry.
While they're doing that, I would like to go into the kitchen on my own to see if I can be helpful, because obviously I know everything about cooking.
Oh no. Oh no.
Beautiful. Trin, what would you like to do on the ship?
I'm gonna find a good spot with a table where I can sit down and tinker with this item that I need to fix.
Okay. There's not a whole lot of space up here, but if you go down, there's a common area used for gambling and dinners. It's like the mess hall, but also just the common area as well. It's right outside of the kitchen, and that's a very easy place to at least make space for yourself.
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
There are a bunch of people snoozing on benches down there. Theron, Anima, even a couple of Gants. The red jade is made up of quite an amalgamation of different people. And
A motley crew.
yeah, it is a motley crew. And Fiddlix, how would you like to spend your time?
I am going to try to make myself smell as appealing to the many cats on deck as possible, and I'm going to try to Pied Piper them. And the reason I do this is I don't want to eat a cat. Kalia hit the nail on the head earlier. I don't very often end up on boats, and all 5 of my tails are very bushy right now.
Oh
And
no.
random directions, and it's awkward, and I'm not feeling as pretty today because of it, and I really feel if I could at least get my mind fixated on gathering the cats, then I at least know I could eat them later.
You just want to get them all close.
Yes, I just want to get them all close, and I also want to practice self-control. I have a feeling that my fox-like tendencies may be the end of me. I'm also somewhat disturbed by the assassination attempts I've survived.
Okay. Let's start off with Kalia then. Kalia, for your navigation check, it's going to be an intellect-based task. To do it,
okay.
To get there is going to be a task difficulty of 5. So modifying that with your geography skill is certainly a thing you can do. And Mr. Hollis is going to be granting you an asset as well. So it knocks it down to a 3. You can feel free to spend effort here.
I will. I'll spend... remind me how this works? I spend 1 effort to reduce.
Yes. So you can spend... you can spend points of effort in the corresponding pool. At first tier, you can only spend up to 1 level of effort. So you're spending 3 out of your intellect pool to reduce the check by 1.
Perfect. So now I've reduced it down to a level 2, right?
Yes.
I am not marking down that I have spent that, so I don't forget. All right. And that is a 12.
Nice. Yep. You immediately grasp. This isn't your first wheelhouse, and this certainly isn't the first secret island that you've been to. So you immediately sort of grasp from his maps not only the trading points and the winds that you need to both avoid and hit, but also you can kind of glean from these spots on the map where upstanding coral reefs and oyster beds might be that you also need to avoid, and why the maps are like this. And you're able to delegate this to the rest of your crew that will be manning the wheel in your stead. Cool. So you will have a rather restful time getting to Leviathan Spa, as it were.
I maintain I have someone else steers for the most part. I've got a buddy who steers the boat, so I take my captain's chair, which is a recliner that's on the poop deck, and sort of lean back like as the boat starts moving.
Sure. Do you have a name for this buddy of yours?
Buddy.
His Gottfried.
Gottfried? Okay.
Gottfried, yeah.
Sure. We'll make him a Theron with 1 eye and a demeanor as raspy as his voice.
Yes.
Okay. Grandma Parvati Butwali.
So, can I have asked the fish boyfriend to come join me down below?
Oh, definitely. He's going to be a little bit reluctant to, because every moment that he is not at least within eyeshot of the sea is sort of an anxiety-producing moment, but he will acquiesce because he already saw Trin go down there, so he's feeling a little bit more comforted by this. So
but J6, why don't you come down with me into the kitchens? We can see what they're cooking, and then we can talk as well. Because I enjoy his company as my friend's boyfriend, and he's fun.
He says sure, and now when you open the door, there's a lot of cuisines that a ship could have. They could have dried meats. They could have fresh vegetables, dried vegetables. There's just so many things that you can cook with. But the most immediate thing might just be fish. May I intrude?
Yeah, I just hope his brother, full size, brought out and breaded and fried. And mouth open and eyes bugging.
I think this is an appropriate time for an intrusion. Will you accept?
I mean, I have to, but yeah. Oh, no, I don't have to, but I want to. No, I have to. But either way, yes, I accept. This sounds so fun.
Okay, so as you open the door, you're chatting him up. He steps in with you. He's sort of looking at you as much as possible. Trin has taught him that maintaining eye contact is a very, very normal thing for people to do a lot of the time. So every time you talk to him, he's always maintaining just solid eye contact with you. And by the way, take that 1 XP and give one to somebody else.
So I'm going to say, because I am with Trina's boyfriend, Trina should get the XP.
Oh, well, thank you.
Beautiful.
Because it is her training of Trin to be around humans and stuff that has allowed him to be, comfy here.
Great. So as the door swings shut behind them, or behind the two of you, his nostrils start flaring a little bit, and he looks over, and there is just a whole line of breaded fish parts that is too real for him to deal with. And you watch as his eyes just kind of glaze over. He opens his mouth and just goes, ah, ah, ah! And he starts running around in circles. Make me a speed roll. It's going to be a difficulty 3 to not get knocked over by him into an oven as he starts comically just running around. And,
okay, I have low speed, and I'm going to spend my 3 points because I'm concerned about him and about being knocked into cookware. Okay, so I'm going to spend 3 points of speed, and I rolled a 19.
Look at that.
Nice. So you manage to duck out from under him as he sort of boosts around the room, and he's knocking things over in his wake. And as he does so, he accidentally knocks some flour into an open fire. Not a whole lot, but just enough to cause a small burst that sort of adds to this snowball effect. Muriel ducks underneath one of the cabinets as he's running around, and at that point you notice that the stove is on fire.
Oh, damn. Okay, so, I am Grandma Barbati. I deal with kitchen accidents all the time. So I immediately take on, my no-nonsense commanding, presence. How many people, staff members are in the kitchen?
It's a very small kitchen. It's really just Muriel and then the flailing J6 and yourself. The stove is on fire, but more importantly, dinner might burn. What do you do?
Okay, I'm gonna point at the lady, the cook, and I'm gonna snap. You take care of the fire. No, wrong voice. You take care of the fire. I will take care of the fish boy.
Okay.
So I go up to so what is he doing this moment?
He's running around in circles around the kitchen.
Okay, can I grab him easily since it's a small kitchen?
Yes. So go ahead and make me a might roll to bear hug him. It's gonna be a test difficulty. I'm gonna make this one a 4, mostly because he's friends.
Okay, I'm gonna spend my points. Oh, I'm spending all my points.
Yeah, otherwise it sounds like the Red Jays will be lost to a cooking fire in session 2.
Okay, I rolled a 9, which is fail, right?
Well, you
I did spend an effort.
Points to reduce it. So yes.
So that's exactly it meets, right?
Yeah, at the last moment, as he's coming up, you just clothesline him and drop him into a hug.
Okay, and as I do so, I'm gonna put my hands over his eyes so he can't see anything, and I'm going to whisper a prayer to Riti, the god of the words that are at the tip of your tongue, but you can't quite remember, to cast erase memories on him. Which can erase up to the last 5 minutes of memory. So I'm going to erase the fact that he ever stepped into this kitchen and what he saw.
Okay.
That's smart.
I'm so happy I get to use the spell.
Let me check. Is there
and that costs me 2 points because I have an edge. So I'm gonna say, Holy Riti, this nice boy is going insane. Please make him forget what's been triggering him. And I close the eyes so he can't see, and I I whisper that and I blow into his ear. And as I blow into his ear, this like pinky, tiny cloud of midges kind of like flies out of my mouth and into his head, and rearranges memory. And I like turn him around and walk him out the kitchen. I'm like, why don't you go on the deck and look at the sea? It's very pretty. It's very pretty.
Oh
And
no.
you do have to make me that intellect roll to do it as well. It's going to be difficulty 3.
So I guess
intellect
Trin
roll.
sees Jasix just as he comes out of the kitchen.
Well, kind of. Hold on. Back
Huh?
up just a second. Your ability requires you to make an intellect roll.
Oh, damn. Oh, God. Ah!
Difficulty is
Okay,
going to
okay.
be, 3.
Let me, yeah. Oh, right. It is an intellectual. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
What's the
I think,
difficulty?
It's going to be 3, but after you grab him, that constitutes as an action, and he's going to use his own to try to break out first.
Ah!
Yep.
Fish boy!
Yep, so go
Okay.
ahead and
This
roll
boy's
me-
got places to be.
He does have places to be. Roll me a might
Okay.
again.
And I rolled a 2.
This time. So he bursts out of it. But you still get to make your attempt at erasing memories. He's not going to
Okay,
get far enough.
so
I
I-
also need you to take 3 might damage. as
Oh,
well.
God.
So-
Ooh, that's
I'm
not
sorry,
good.
2 might
Okay,
damage,
so
as he just
I take 3
clocks
might
you.
damage.
Yeah, he clocks you in the chin with his elbow.
I still like him, but oh my God, he's going crazy. Boy, young men these days, young men. Or should I say young fish? I don't know. So I'm gonna spend 2 more points to try and succeed in this intellect. Ooh, I'm low on all my scores. Okay, I rolled a 15.
Great. Yep. As you cast your spell, he's still screaming, and then he stops screaming and stares at the wall.
And then I turn him around and shove him out the door.
Perfect. He walks out and then he stares at you, Trin. In that time, only maybe I don't know, 12 to 15 seconds have passed. So as he turns around and walks out of the kitchen, he stares at you and then stares back at the door and he says, I thought I was heading into the kitchen.
No. Actually, I think that kitchen is very small. You know, this boat, it's very small. It's too many people, too many cooks will spoil the broth, like my grandmother used to say. So you go that way, you will find Mediterranean. You know, she's such a lovely girl. You go talk to her, okay, dinner will be ready. Grandma Parvati will take care of it. And literally pinch his cheeks and go,
It doesn't, like, his skin is hard and scaly, so it doesn't, like,
so it doesn't do go very well, but I attempt as
Slimy,
much as
slippery.
possible.
Yep. So he goes to find Trin very confused, and when you return into the kitchen, Muriel's finishing off just slamming the rest of the fire off with the lids of her pans, and she stares at you and she goes, no fish boys in the kitchen no more, okay?
I apologize. Also, know that I don't apologize very often, but I do apologize, and that will not happen again. In return, I will give you my expert knowledge of cooking
Oh, no.
that I use for all my grandchildren and children, at least the ones that I know. So let me help you cook. And by that, I mean let me take over cooking, even if I don't know as much as her.
Just go ahead and roll me an intellect check to persuade. This one's going to be
Okay.
difficulty.
Can I like?
2.
So can I be, because this is what she would do. I'd be like intimidating her into I'm cooking, like I'm in charge.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay,
Yeah, you can make
so I
it
have an asset. I have a training in intimidation, my only skill,
Yeah.
and I rolled an 11.
Okay.
Yeah, you pass. As you're speaking to her, you can see her face just kind of turn and look at she has a spice rack in the kitchen. It's one of those vertical ones with not hundreds, but tens of different spices, just covered with a thin layer of dust because she doesn't touch them. And then she returns to you and says, "Okay, maybe you cook. I take break."
That sounds like an excellent idea. Post-traumatic stress from this accident. I will cook and I will use spices the way they should be used.
Okay, but no
Grandma's very used to extremely spicy cooking.
Okay,
Oh no.
just no more fish boy in kitchen, okay?
That is understood. Yes, that is a good idea.
Okay, thank you, Grandma. This was terrifying. And she shimmies out of the
Yes.
other work, but thankful for the night off. She's been cooking for months.
Yes.
Can I just say that was my favorite use of any sort of erase memory spell in any game I've ever played? Just say.
That was good.
That's beautiful.
That was very good.
Yep. Down to Trin. You find yourself a good, I'm not going to say level, but level enough table to work on in the mess hall. It's still pretty cramped. Of course, this part of the ship is really only about 10 feet wide, maybe 12 to be generous, but most of it is packed with benches and sittable surfaces. It's pretty dark down here as well, but there are a few lanterns that you can light up. One specific one hangs from the ceiling. It's sort of got this ever-glowing look about it, spiderweb-like in appearance, and you can see small bubbles moving around it as well. And it just kind of hangs there from a thin thread. But it provides enough light to just be able to see.
So I set up on the table right underneath that lamp, and I also grab a lantern because this is some delicate clockwork device that I'm really going to need to be able to see what I'm doing to fix it.
Yes.
But I just push a bunch of dishes away from where my seat is and pull out all of my tools to get to work on it.
Sure.
Yeah. Do I need to roll anything to see how the fixing goes?
Yep, if you roll me an intellect check, and it's going to be a basic intellect check, so we're just going to make it a 2 most.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I rolled a 4. This thing must be really broken.
Yeah, it's very broken. From what you can tell, you'd have to build Muriel something entirely new based on this. And you're not even sure what it was. It was some sort of delicate piece of machinery, almost. Very, very similar to the stuff that you're used to crafting with and working on. But you're also not sure, now that you look at it, and curiously enough, you're not sure even where it came from. But that could be something you could ask her.
Yeah, I'm normally quite skilled at identifying the function of devices, but I've never seen anything even remotely like this. I'm gonna pick it up and bring it into the kitchen to ask.
Okay. Yeah, as you move to the kitchen, that's about the time that she's shuffling out, and she doesn't run into you, but it's a near hit. As she comes out, and you can hear Grandma Parvati singing and mixing up spices.
La 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 lori, doodh ki katori, doodh mein batasha, and I just yeah.
So yeah, you run into her if you'd like to ask her any questions.
Yeah, I ask her, where did you get this? And what is it?
Oh, she picks it up and she goes, this is from my home. Yeah, well, not my own. I'm from Ellising. But this is a piece of Galorian equipment. Have you ever seen something like it?
This is extremely unusual craftsmanship. It looks very similar to things that I'm used to working with, but I have no idea what it does or how it works.
It turns, keep this quiet. It turns gold into magic.
What?
It turns gold into magic. I broke it because the ship was going back and forth, back and forth. I fell over, I hit it on my wrist, and you can tell now that she's got a bruise going around her wrist about the size of the thing she was wearing. It turns gold into magic.
Okay.
I wish I could explain further, but without it, so I cannot.
This sounds like a side quest, and we must pursue this out of character.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's so incredibly broken and such unusual craftsmanship that I don't think I'm going to be able to fix it for you without finding the original crafter and asking them how it works.
Oh, the original crafter, I met when I was a little girl, that he's the one who gave me this thing. Gosh, but we'd have to go to LSN to do it. His name was, give me a second, what was his name? It was Aramis.
Aramis A, like the
It's AHRMIS. And his last name is Grieve.
This is so exciting.
I love quests.
The magic.
Yeah.
Because who needs gold?
Yeah. Perhaps.
That's out of character. Talia loves gold.
Yes, I would very much love to meet this crafter at some point. I know we're on a mission right now, but maybe afterwards.
Very talented. He travels quite a bit, but if you have access to what is it called, the Medokian watercart, you can reach him more easily.
I see. Do you happen to have one of them?
No, if I did, I wouldn't be here.
Well, gosh, I hope to be able to find him one day. I have so many questions.
Oh, yes, I do as well. Like, where did he go? For example, the last thing I knew, he was going across the Iberian countryside in a wagon, but I have not heard from him since.
Do you know of anyone else who crafts these types of items?
Aside from you? No, not many people are trained in these kinds of, well, it's a science, but you make it kind of an art, and she taps you on the shin.
Oh, I thank you.
Let's go now to Phillips. Phillips, you are trying to make yourself irresistible to the cats and make yourself resist the cats.
Are you ready for this?
Oh no.
Early each day, on the ship called Red Jade, a sly, hungry fox tries not to fade his own special way. To the kittens he calls, come and be close before evening falls. Come feed the handsome fox, show him you care, and you'll be glad if you do. His stomach is empty, he could lose his hair. All that it takes is courage from you. And he starts doing like a little soft shoe. He starts to get into it. He's starting to lose it. His tail's getting bushy, and his eyes are maddening. And he calms himself.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I'm actually shuffling up my asset deck right now to give you an asset.
And I have 3 other verses.
Oh my god.
Maybe
I let them have the spotlight, and then I was like, I gotta get a kitten picture to bring up next to my head.
Okay, so I just randomly pulled this. You'll never believe that it was random, but here's what you get. And go ahead and feel free to write this down. This one is called Animal Instincts. You are at one with the beast. The difficulty of any non-combat task involving animals is just decreased by 1 step.
Oh no! You're gonna eat my cats!
Maybe just one.
I mean, it is the second episode.
Hey, the fox, one of your tails. Just one. Just one. Just one of your tails. And I'm getting there. It's like.
So you're singing to them. To be able to attract the cats to you is going to be a little bit hard. Now, with your foxy senses, you do smell some fish cooking in the kitchen. It's entirely possible that you can just rub a little bit to encourage them to come forward, because usually cats are not drawn to predators.
Oh,
No,
but cats are drawn to this string! And I start fraying the ends of my rope and dangling it. I'm like, oh, little cats, look
That'll work to try.
Yes.
So, your task difficulty for this, keeping in mind that you are a predator, you do have predator scent on you to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to make this task difficulty kind of, difficult. It's going to be a task 4.
Thank you for making it hard to eat my cats.
It's only because he was a fox. If this was a ferret that ate cats, it would be a completely different story.
No.
A deception. I'm attempting to deceive the cats that
Yes.
I'm a fun friend.
And then if you'd like to use your assets, your animal instincts asset, you are free to do so.
Yes. Is that also up in roll 20? Or?
No, not yet. But any non-combat, it's a one-use thing, so once you use it, poof, you can also save it for later.
I do want to use it. So being trained in deception and using the asset, what's that put me at?
2 down. It was at 4, so now it's just at 2.
Nice.
All right, and I want to remind you, I've got edge and I've got an XP. However, I may not eat a cat. I may just toy with it and cuddle it for a while, a little closely. I may try to make it my friend and my lunch.
It's so much worse if you eat it when it's already your friend.
Yeah, the best kind of friends. Best kind of friends. So, Owl of Lysia, success. I rolled a 15, beating a difficulty of 5 if needed.
Beautiful. So, you tether up the ends of this string, and they're very interested. Eventually, they start being very attracted to your tails as well.
Ooh,
Trying
and
to
I'm
paw
like
at them.
letting all 5 of them go out. It's like, enjoy those tails.
Yeah.
Become my cats. I'm like sort of melting. Like my legs are kind of not even of my own ability, like kind of splitting out into a split motion, and I'm just kind of becoming one, and all 5 tails lay out around me and the rope. I'm inviting the little kitties in.
Yep. They're absolutely not enamored, but very, very into you, and they play with you as long as you want them to.
Mm-hmm. And essentially, my question for you, Dungeon Master, I know I am a predator, and I have been known to eat a cat or two. None of hers. These were unknown cats. Let me get that's okay. There's roll 20. What would I have to do to make these cats very enamored with me?
like too enamored. Honestly, it's going to be smell based. Same thing as it would be for you.
So I have to get rid of their sense of smell, is what you're saying.
Maybe.
Here's what I'm going to try to do. I'm trying to let as many of the cats roll on me as possible or play on me.
This is very cute.
Yeah. If it wasn't just a bit more sociopathic.
Yeah, it would be cute if you weren't trying to eat them.
I haven't tried to eat them yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Not yet.
But perhaps.
Yeah, and am I noticing any other brouhaha on the deck?
There's a Theron gentleman. He's manning the wheel. I think we said his name was Godfried. And then there's also gonna be a person probably playing an instrument. You generally get a bunch of people like that. Yeah, like a musician. I think probably a ukulele player. And he's sitting on the near the front of the ship. You can hear a gentle rhythmic
the ukulele player, the Mr. Ukulele, and I'm just gonna be like, who there who strums such pleasant tunes? Come to me. I have questions for you. Questions. Please come and see the fox.
He stops playing and he goes, well, you talking to me?
Oh, yes. My question for you. What do they feed all these cats on the ship? Do they catch the rats that are underneath? What do these cats eat? What do they like? What do they enjoy? I'm a little fox puddle at this point.
Oh, he walks up and he when he sees that he laughs as he sees you just in a puddle of cats and he goes well, a little bit of both. We feed them from the kitchen and also from they hide the rats. It's beneficial to have cats on board a ship.
Very beneficial. Have you noticed that I feel the cats are becoming too numerous, almost as if they're breeding, almost as if we need to control their numbers. Now, there were less cats here yesterday than there are today. I'm lying at this point.
Yeah.
But I've tried to get him on my side and start spreading rumors amongst the crew that perhaps there needs to be some cat control on board.
There was a moment in the beginning of this session in which you claimed that I introduced you last because you're the worst. But for this, it will be a difficulty. You've only been here a day. He's not that smart, but this guy ain't dumb either. I'm gonna make this a task difficulty 4. It's gonna be a little hard to persuade him of the of this lie.
And I am trained in this, and
of course you are.
Yeah, those are the only skills. I'm a mysterious speaker.
Yeah, that's.
And so task difficulty 4, I can lower it to a 3 by being trained. This is the best rule system, by the way, that I've played.
It's so great.
5 years. Yeah, excellent job on the design. And let's see. So I got A, and for the viewers at home, no, a failure.
Yes.
So he's caught me in my little foxy lie, and I'm like, I'm just kidding. I just love to eat these cats because they look delicious. And with that, I start chasing them all off and away from me and start freaking out and ask them, "What is your name, ukulele player?"
My name is Dimitri Pigeon.
Dimitri, you're a good person, and I like you. And the job of musician who plays 6 days a week, except for the Sabbath, as per the pirate code, is an underappreciated position. And I tell you this, if you keep our little story between the two of us, just between us, I've got a little bit of coin in it for you, and I kind of pull out 5-star. Would that be an acceptable price?
This would be more than acceptable to keep this quiet. Nobody loves the cats more than Captain Gallia. So you would be wise to not do what you are thinking of doing.
I flash a dashing smile and I say, "You are most wise, Dimitri." I'm snapping him the finger guns and slowly slink away to find something else to do. I think I'm going to go find the rest of my friends.
Yeah, he takes the 5-star and bites it to make sure it's real as he slinks off back to the front of the ship to play ukulele. So, night falls. You all have a difficult time adjusting to sea life. I need everyone here except for except for Kalia and Trin. So really just Grandma Parvati and Felix to make me a might check. And this might isn't based out of strength, it's based out of the constitution to hold down your supper.
Does my familiar cooked food, which is incredibly spicy, and I made it even more spicy with my hedge magic esoteric. Does that act as an asset?
Yeah, I would say so. You probably know a bunch of spices that would help settle stomachs.
Okay.
I got a 14, which would beat a difficulty of 4.
Yeah, just go ahead and roll and tell me what you got.
I rolled a 5 and 1 asset to that.
Okay. Both of you sleep soundly during the night, but you, Grandma, you feel sick in the morning. Regardless, it is not a good look for you.
I'm not built to be on ships. It was probably the ingredients in the food. They weren't the highest quality.
I felt they were spoiled, and I feel the captain of this vessel has been trying to save coin. I'm sorry. She's my rival.
Felix, you notice that that Dimitri is like constantly keeping an eye out on you, especially up top deck or like beneath. He doesn't trust that you're still not trying to eat the cats, so you can note him trailing you at any given time of the day.
I need to hatch a ploy and lead the crew to think that Dimitri is in fact eating the cats. I've got to get one, I've got to butcher it, I've got to leave bits of hair and maybe a tail dangling out of his mouth at night, put a knife in his hand. Forge his hand, I love cats and I love to eat them too, even more so than music. And I'm not doing that. Just for Dimitri, anytime I pick up that he's watching me, I kind of flash him my baby blues, give him a wink and a smile, and let him know that it's like, I appreciate him keeping an eye on me because I don't trust myself. This is an important job.
Seems appropriate.
And so those are the two sides of the coin. Now I'm going to roll a D2. And on a 1, I think my finicky fox nature might give in to trying to frame Dimitri. On a 2, I'm sincerely going to appreciate him. I don't know. I'm an anima. He's a Theron. I feel this deserves a gambling chance. Yeah, it's a 1. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but when he least suspects it, Dimitri is going to be hanged at sea. First for bad music. 2.
His music is perfectly fine.
2 for devouring cats illegally. Now, this isn't something I'm doing anytime, but I'm making a note that in the future, Dimitri's going to go down, and he's going to go down hard. He'll think twice before he watch Fiddlix without consent.
Beautiful. So, welcome to your second day at sea. Over night, if anybody had been carousing on the top deck,
not ladylike.
That's true.
I'm carousing.
Kalia, you looking back to where you had sailed from, you would notice that there is you can still see the storm, but at night from this distance, it almost looks like there's a blue glint in the center of it, similar to, I suppose, the way that a lighthouse would shine.
Sure. Is there? I genuinely don't know this about Cypher system. Is there a way to roll for something that you're not trained in?
Oh yeah, you just roll. The training really just knocks it down, so you can roll for anything. And for everybody watching, anytime somebody wants to roll for something, just describe to me what you're doing. The training in it is really just a way to help you. There's also inabilities, which makes it more difficult. But I'm going to assign it to either might, intellect, or speed. everything fits into one of those three categories, and I'll tell you what to make when you describe to me what do you want to do.
Okay, I have a skill in identifying, which is super broad. But I feel like I've been like a sailor for like a long time. And I'm wondering if I've ever seen anything like this before, I've ever heard of anything like this before, in my travels. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I'd imagine it'd be an intellectual.
It would. It might be a history, it might be... No, but it would be mostly history based. So go ahead and make me a roll. This one's going to be formidable.
Okay.
Meaning a task difficulty of 7 to accomplish.
That's okay. I'm doing this at night, right? Or what day?
It could be in the morning as well, like early morning, just before the sun rises. It's like the last time.
But the blue glow would be when I would have that's when I would have been like, what the heck? Okay, I'm gonna roll.
So note that it's impossible for you to succeed without spending effort because the task difficulty is 7.
Yeah, that was my thought. So I was gonna spend. How do I get my effort back? Remind me. I'm sorry.
You rest. You do a recovery roll.
So that's my thought. So
it's going to be 1d6 plus your tier, and then you can divide that amongst any pools you like.
Oh, did the night sleep count as one recovery roll?
Yes.
Okay. So I will roll. So I'm actually going to spend. I can only spend 1 level, right?
Yes.
Okay. Why the heck not try? You don't know.
Yeah, you can make it.
Nope. Nothing.
Nothing.
Got nothing. Yeah.
You strain your mind all night and consumes it, and you just don't pull anything out. There's a lot of sailor stories that it could be, though, but none that quite match this one.
Yeah, maybe tomorrow I would want to ask among the crew. There's like a lot of people here who've probably seen a larger number of things, and maybe I can see what's up and try again.
That seems logical to me. So the next day passes. We're going to go through this a little bit more abstractly. So how would you like to spend your second day at sea?
I am actually really worried about this storm. This storm is freaking me out. I've never seen anything like it. So I think I would definitely be spending a little while asking around, figuring out, if anybody has seen this thing and see if I can figure out what it is.
I spend most of the day doing more cooking, and I'm just bossing around the cooking stuff. And I also, if I have some free time, I make a little in the kitchen. I draw on the wall a little icon of Riti, the god of words, the tip of your tongue that you can't quite remember, and their form is a swarm of tiny bugs that like go into your brain and steal away the words you can't say. So his icon is like a bunch of pink dots, just like pink dots. So I make that on one of the walls as an icon to my minor god.
Okay. Trin, is there anything you'd like to accomplish today?
Yeah, so I think today I'm gonna have to spend a little bit of time explaining the food chain to Jasix.
That's his heart.
Because you see, when we all sat down to dinner last night, he was pretty sure that some of us might have been eating some fish. And he got a little upset. So
that's pretty much what we eat.
I was able to talk him down at dinner, but he's a little concerned today. So I have to sit and explain to him how, Jasix, the fish in the sea, some of them are very large with sharp teeth, and some of those like to eat therns and tannins and other creatures. And likewise, sometimes tannins and therns like to eat creatures from the sea. And it's all just the circle of life, you see.
It's the circle of life. Can we ask Dimitri to play that to him as this is being explained?
Yes, he plays the version that he won't get sued for. Fiddlix, how are you spending today?
Well, as the picture next to my talking head shows,
See how friendly they are? Friends.
They're friends, and we must. There's actually, if you look that up, there's a bunch of adorable pictures of them playing together.
Because they're friends.
Yes, and friends sometimes do difficult things for their friends, such as allowing themselves to. With that said, I'm mostly just trying to get the cats on my side. So if the cats are called to testify against me in court, they're not going to tell me out. With that said, I'm more interested in more members of the crew, people I haven't met yet. Because the way I feel this is going to go is the cats are going to start crying anytime I show up, which is going to put everyone on alert. Two, Dimitri's going to be like, oh, that's Fiddlix. He's trying to eat the cats again. And he's going to get everyone against me. So what I need a champion from the crew. I'm trying to look for someone, maybe a rigger who works the sails and the ropes, maybe a powder monkey. I don't know if there's any cannons on this, but someone that lugs equipment, possibly even the quartermaster who's in charge of all supplies. I'm trying to make friends with an officer. Likewise, they might be able to give me more information about the ship and the demeanor of the voyages.
Okay. Very easily enough, you find Karis's father, a gentleman named Toby, who would do a lot of the rigging work and heavy lifting around the ship, and he's been there for. Was it how long have they been here for, Kalia?
Probably about. I probably picked them up shortly after I picked up the boat, so maybe a year.
Okay, yeah, they've been here just about as long as the boat has. They've been living on it full time and are full members of the crew.
They're probably some of the people who've been. They would be the people who've been here like the longest, along with Mary,
and likely have a share in the ship as well. So they're here for long term, and Toby himself works more or less as an officer. Would you picture him to be your first mate, or were you looking at another first mate?
Yeah, probably. His kid is definitely my cabin boy. I think his wife probably is like runs the day to day, and he probably does more of the, like the first mate stuff, the like where are we going, what are we doing kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's settled. I'm making friends and schmoozing with the cabin boy, who's probably tired of cleaning cat poop in the bilge, the decks. This gets old for him. He does not see the enormous benefits. He is younger and hopefully more gullible. So
he's 10 years old, and his name is Jack.
Oh, Jack.
And he loves the cats.
He loves them so much.
He loves them so much. But you probably don't know that.
He loves the cats, but I know children.
Oh, no.
Yours. And there's so much poop, and it smells so bad. Not only that, you're all going to get, like, toxic...
Toxoplasma gondii.
Yes.
Oh, right, that's the thing that...
Oh, yeah.
Stay away from.
Aha! Which Fox has no clue about. But yes, he's just like, oh, that disease and filth flying around here. Yeah. But yeah, mostly I'm just trying to befriend members of the crew, showboat to them. They probably haven't seen a magical, fantastic fox before. I just want to showboat to them and show them little tricks, explain the stories of all my travels, because they have seen the sea, but they may not have seen the far north. They may not have seen the fires of hell, nor have I, but I might make up stories about it. And I'm also very interested in their stories of their travels. So I'm mostly trying to hobnob.
Okay. Let's start with Kalia. I feel like we could just condense you checking around with the crew with a percentile roll.
Sure.
So even with effort, I'm going to say I'm going to give you a 20% chance. So if you roll an 80 to 100 on a percentile die, somebody can tell you what it is, and that's going to require effort on your part as well.
Okay.
It's going to be like not intense interrogation, but you have to keep it up, and I'll let you choose. Yeah. It could be might to just keep going and talking to people and making sure you hit everyone, or it could be mental, and I'll let you choose. And you're going to be spending for...
I mean, I'll take might. I'm pretty much just running around asking everybody, that thing, did you know that thing? What's that thing?
Yeah.
So can I also ask, while I'm doing this, whether there's any chance that I find out that someone is trying to eat my cats? Please?
Dimitri might say something, and you can make a persuasion check against him. He was bribed, and one of the reasons that you did hire him, or at least put him on your ship, is because he seems pretty loyal. And
all right, well, I'll roll my check first and see if I get lucky. Let's see.
Or at least loyal to whoever's paying him at the time.
Got nothing. But do I get to talk to Dimitri?
Yes, you do. And go ahead and spend 3 points out of your might or your intellect pool, whichever one you wanted to internalize that stress as.
Yeah. Okay. So I sort of end my hobnobbing, having gotten nowhere, by sitting down with Dimitri.
Yeah. And you notice when you're sitting down with him one-on-one, he keeps like trying to avert eye contact with you. You can tell that he's not telling you something, and maybe at first you think it's related to the weird storm, so go ahead and roll me a persuasion check, or it's to be sort of like I'm your boss, tell me what's going on.
So I have both insight and pleasant social interactions training, so it seems like both of those are
right. It's going to be a task difficulty 3.
Got it, 13.
Okay. So yeah, as you press him, you both think you're talking about different things.
Oh no.
And yeah, you think that you're trying to press him about the storm, and maybe he's like afraid of it or just not telling you for some reason. And he thinks that you know about somebody trying to eat your cats, and he just thrusts...
I, by the way, have like a cat on my shoulder and a cat on my lap right now.
Yeah. And he just, he reaches into his pocket and he pulls out money, and he just thrusts 5 stars into your hands, and he says, Fidelex paid me this to not tell you that he was trying to eat your cats.
Oh, Dimitri? Oh, I thought you were worried. Wait, he's trying to eat them?
Time to plant a dead cat on Dimitri.
The fox guy, right? The fox guy's trying to eat. That actually, when I say it out loud, that makes a lot of sense.
He paid me not to say anything, so that money is yours now, I guess. Or maybe it should go back to him. I do not know.
No, you know what, dude? Keep it. I'll talk to him. And I push it back across the table.
Okay, he takes it and he's like...
Poor Dimitri.
So yeah, let's go to Grandma Wally. I don't think for anything that you suggested that you wanted to do for the day, a check is necessary. So you can sort of leisurely do that. A couple of the crew, including Karis, who's very taken with you, stops by to see what you're doing. Karis is especially interested in all the shiny fabrics that you're using and wear. So feel free to speak with her as you will, but she loves your tattoos as well. She'll probably try to touch them and watch as they skirt around her fingertips.
This is the 5-year-old, right?
Yes, yeah, it's a 5-year-old.
So I start teaching her the basics of proper cooking, including like the adding of all the spices. Like you take you take both handfuls of the chili peppers and you throw them in the pot. And I also, because the one of the avatars of the gods who take the form of the caged cricket in my hair is like, this is Balak, the god of children's birthday parties, who is very keen on children living a long life so they can have many birthday parties. So he has instructed me to praise the gods to this child to teach the ways. So I roll my eyes as well, and I'm like, okay, child, the gods are very self-conscious and they want you to know that they are wonderful. Okay. So yeah, I spend most of my day doing that kind of thing with her.
Great. And Trin, to explain the food chain, it doesn't take a whole lot to do, and it's not going to require a check at all. He's just more freaked out because he saw the kitchen. It's the same response that most people might have when they walk into a butcher's hall for the first time. And he harkens back to the idea that anima have eaten things before that Theron might not like, but generally it's only by accident. And he nods, maintaining extreme eye contact with you the entire time.
And he has these fish eyes, right?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Unnerving eye contact.
Yeah, no, it's also a little bit challenging at first, though, because he's a vegetarian. Like, he only eats seagrasses and things like that. So it's a little extra tough.
Yeah, and it could be that he's a vegetarian because he accidentally ate a sentient creature once. The distinction, especially in this world, isn't that great, except for how much they actually talk to you and are able to use them. Right, so he found out that he had eaten something he shouldn't have, and has been a strict kelp guy ever since. And then Fiddlix, what kind of cat-related activities are we doing again? Remind me.
Well, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get alliances in the crew. Vouch for me. This goes down.
Okay.
With that said, if it comes to it, I need to interrogate Dimitri and find out if he has kept his word. And if he has not kept his word to a fox, he's a very bad crew member and cannot be trusted. He's going to get out.
Okay. So, go ahead and roll me. I'm going to give you sort of the same check. We're gonna do multiple people, and maybe you're visiting them like right after Kalia, sort of in the same line. So yeah, you can choose to spend points. It's gonna be 3 out of might or intellect, and then just make me a grand check for all of them. And that just sort of represents the stress and reduces the need to roll a bunch of times.
So, let's do this. So I'm going to make the first check. And the first check we're going to bring up. There's probably just more things. Well, I beat a difficulty 4.
Yep. So you managed to acclimate quite a few crew members to your side. There's 40 on board total. And basically you go through the ranks by age. You tell the children, they tell their parents, that kind of thing. So go ahead and we'll say that you get about, half the crew on your side, give or take.
Juicy odds.
Yeah.
And now I need to make sure my good friend Dimitri has kept his word to me. He took coin from me.
Yep, and I think about this time, it's very likely that you run into Kalia, who's looking for you, coming from Dimitri.
Okay, no, I have a plan here.
Okay, what would you like?
I have one of her cats in my hand.
What?
You have one of cats.
So I actually I stay ahead of Fiddlix as he I see him I've noticed that he's trancing around, and when I think about it, I'm like, oh, okay, he's talking to people. What I'd like to do, noting that the cats are actually my friends, who I've actually fed for many years, or at least a year, I would like to go into I would like to start luring them one by one and get as many of them as possible into one particular part of the ship, maybe a cabin, in an effort to lure Fiddlix to that room.
Okay.
That is what I want to do.
Okay.
Mhm. And what I'd like to do, if she's gone to a secluded place on the ship, and she's trying to lure all the cats, I'm trying to get just one cat, and I want to approach Dimitri with it,
Okay.
stroking it, and start interrogating him.
Okay.
And it should be a crime if something should befall. Oh, Mr. Pussy Boots.
Okay.
Sorry,
So here, no, it's okay. So here's going to be the score of things. Kalia, herding cats is a difficult task.
It is.
Yeah,
I have fish guts. I have lots of fish guts.
Ooh, that's nice. That can serve as an asset. I was going to set it at 5. That knocks it down to a 4 for you. And Felix, you're only trying to get
I assume, because
it's going to be speed. Yep, you're trying to do it as quickly as possible. And for Felix to find 1, you just need to be at a difficulty 2.
All right, I'm going to spend an edge. I love them very much, and I'm trying to beat a. What'd you say? A 4?
A 4. Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna.
It was a 5. It cuts down.
Supply and demand. They're going to go through all those fish guts. These cats will become more and more a nuisance, whining, restless as the days go on, and there's no more juicy fish.
So
guts.
I passed my. I got my.
But hold on, he might pass as well, and then we're just
What
going to
sort of
roll
check
off
do
if
they
that's
get?
the case. It's going to be a speed roll. Difficulty for you is 2.
Okay.
It's diminishing returns on gathering cats.
Let's see how this goes. I succeeded. I rolled an 11.
Okay, so he's able to grab one of the cats, but for your pass, you're able to tell that you can't find the other cat, and it's perhaps for a reason.
Yes. At this point, I imagine I would like to close the cabin door and lie in wait.
Oh, sounds good.
My cats.
And Felix, you have one of the cats. What's the cat's name? Please give it a pun name.
Mhm.
Or actually, wait, let's leave this to the Twitch chat.
Yeah, no, Twitch. Here's the rule. It must be a pun.
Yeah, give us a punny name for a cat on board the Red Jade.
I'm going to call it Jennifer.
Jennifer.
Cindy Claus.
Santa Claus. Oh, Mr. Meowsovich.
Both of those are very good.
I really like Mr. Meowsovich, guys.
That's what it is. Mr. Meowsovich. It's Mr. Meowsovich.
Yep, it's Mr. Meowsovich. So, yep, you have Mr. Meowsovich, and Mr. Meowsovich is, we're going to call him like a really tawny looking tuxedo cat. He's supposed to be black and white, but his fur is sun-drenched, and it's turned a little bit more brown over the years. He's like 15 years old. He was really easy for you to catch as well. And as you carry him around, he just gives a really sort of defeated
I look at him, and I get him, and I let our eyes meet as they come. Let's go see about a musician, Mr. Meowsovich. I just kind of stroke him. I rub that nice part behind his neck.
Yeah.
And, give nice little scratches beneath his ears, the parts where his poor aged feline form has suffered, harder to reach in his old age, as his joints have become arthritic over time. In life at sea has been hard on him. And I need to go find Dimitri. I need to ask him if he's been true to his word.
It's a fairly small ship, so going through the decks, you easily find him in about 10 minutes in the crew quarters.
All right. My good man, Dimitri.
He looks up, sees the cat in your hand, and he's very confused.
I just wanted to check in and see how you're enjoying the 5 stars that I gave you. Have you played any games of chance with them?
No.
Have you saved it for your family back home? Perhaps tuition for a child? Money?
I am glad you are so concerned with how I spend my bribery money for you, he says. And he goes back to playing.
Bribery. Excuse me. All right. And I'm going to sit down directly in front of him. And I'm going to look him in the eyes and say, bribery money. What's a donation to a poor man at sea? What's wrong with tipping the musician? You're not getting fair shares, nor will you ever with this station.
He tilts his head to the side and says, I'm sorry, my language might be different from yours. I was not aware that you were tipping me for my services, instead of not telling the captain that you were trying to eat our cats.
I eat a cat?
Like you said you were doing when you handed me some money.
Look, you obviously aren't familiar with foxy feline humor. I adore cats, and I hold up Mr. Meowsevich, his face to mine. I rub our noses on each other. I hope he doesn't claw one of my eyes out. That would sting. And I turn him back towards Dimitri, and I say, I'm not eating cats. I was just playing with them.
Oh, okay. Well,
I said meeting cats. How do you meet cats?
I see. I suppose thank you for the tip then, and if it was all a joke, I do not feel bad about telling Captain Kalia about what I thought your plan was. But I'm sure we can fix up everything in just a few minutes.
She has the worst.
Do me a favor, though, if you will.
I owe you a favor now. I who paid you 5 stars.
Why don't you put the cat in your mouth? If it's just a joke, Why don't you put it in your mouth?
Oh. A joke! I don't like jokes. And I lean in a little closer. I'm so close to terrifying presence on this guy. Make him pee himself and have him in his pee pants in the sun all day. With that said, I let him know. I go, I think together we need to hand Mr. Meowsevich over. I need a puppet of this thing. You know what? He's I think I'm gonna ask the captain if I can keep him.
Okay.
Alright. And I'm gonna go find Kalia and see if I can keep the cat.
You can hear him whistling and warbling that whistle as he continues to play ukulele, and you find Captain Kalia in the cabin. There's sounds of mewing coming from inside.
Yes. Well, yes. They are well fed though. They're probably pretty happy because I gave them not just the fish guts they get to eat, but the extra fish guts. Because they're cats, and I want them to be my friends. I am then positioned in front of the door in battle stance with 2 daggers up.
I knock on the door. Dunk,
Yeah.
dunk, dunk, dunk.
Is that Fiddlex?
Yes.
It is.
Come on in.
You come out. I hear too many cats in there. And it probably stinks, and it also smells like dead fish. What did you do? Chop up Jasek's family and spread it all around the floor? And I'm saying that kind of loud.
Get the heck in here.
All right. I open the door.
I hold up a cat and I go, okay, look. I have a cat that I'm holding.
I have a cat too.
We all have cats. Everybody's got a cat. And I say, okay, look.
Not afraid to use it.
You cannot eat my cats. You cannot eat my cats. Do you even know what it's like to, care about a pet? You can't, don't eat my, these are my cats. And I hold up one of them, this is Cat Man. And these are the kittens. This is Cat Boy. And this is Cat Girl. And they were my friends when I was living on the streets and my dad had died, and that was all I had. And then I picked them up and I took care of them when I had nothing, and they ate instead of me. So you don't eat my cats if you want to stay on my ship.
At this point, the door to your cabin flies open, and Dimitri is standing there, and he blurts out, "It was just a joke. I misunderstood because of my misunderstanding of language," and he throws the 5 gold star in the room and walks away rather quickly.
So that's the deal, Mr. Fox, dude. If you want to eat the cats, you can take a nice long walk off the short plank on the top, and that will be a thing that is happening because I'm in charge. If you want to help the cats find the rats, get rid of the rats, cool with me. But you're not eating my friends. Got it?
Yes.
Cool.
And I leave with Mr. Miosevich, stroking him. I go, this one likes me. I'm not.
That's fine.
But to be clear, that terrifying presence, that's the way it paid off. Is him sort of confirming that, no, wait, it's not what it looks like, it was a joke.
Wait, sorry?
So Fiddlix used terrifying presence on him to intimidate him.
Okay.
And
I came close to. I actually did not.
Oh, you didn't? I didn't think it required a check. Never mind.
All right.
I take Mr. Miosevich, and I let him in the kitchen because he's old and maybe he can get this from the floor. And I go back to telling stories and listening to stories.
Perfect. Beautiful. Evening falls on the next day. I'm sure that Muriel and Grandma Parvati work together in the kitchen this time. You're showing her how to use the spices this time. There's a lot of smacking with wooden spoons and like shoving her aside. Trin would likely be introduced to some of the ship's storerooms, where they just kind of throw in the random junk that they can't use anymore, stuff that has broken on the ship, and things that she can take a look at. Kalia spends the day delegating tasks to people and doing the store inventory of what they have in storage, food and supplies and the like. And Fiddlix probably spends the day attempting not to eat cats. But by the afternoon of the 3rd day, you all start to arrive at your destination. Hollis emerges from the crew chambers early to stand on the deck and point out where you should be going. And as the ship takes you nearer, I need everyone to make intellect rolls as you come into this somewhat foggy area surrounding this circlet of islands.
4. I got nothing.
17.
Look
Well,
at you.
10.
Smart people over here.
There's
Grandma knows best.
Grandma does know best. Anything from Fiddlix?
I got an 11.
Thank you. So, everyone looks out where he's pointing. Grandma, perhaps you can help me narrate this. But as you look out into the islands that you're coming into, your vision sets upon a ship. Another
There's a
ship,
ship there.
partially sunken in the harbor.
Tell me, sir, and to one of the crew members, are these islands in... Oh, actually not the crew member, the dude, the handsome young dude, what's his name? One who gave us the job. Yes, House. I'm like, tell me, sir, are these islands inhabited?
He looks at you and he goes, I mean, I feel like they're just used for the illegal purposes of whatever they're trading out here, but I don't think they're inhabited. As you
There is
get
a harbor and a half-sunken ship there.
And as you get a closer look at it, and as you point it out to people, you start seeing more and more of the same. Sails sticking up out of the water, more and more ships just sunken partially into this harbor. And as you get closer looks, they're all very recent. These ships, this is not driftwood material, this is new.
It looks like those ships have recently been damaged or crashed or destroyed, or I'm not a very nautical person.
Yeah.
But there's not very healthy looking ships.
Based on the nature of the speed that you're heading at, and Kalia, you might know this better than anyone, the speed that you're heading at, the idea that the fog, you can only really see it as you get closer to it, you suddenly realize that you're in for a trap. So, you need to make for me, or whichever NPC is making the check for me, you might need to jump in and help him. You need to make this ship make a hard stop, otherwise you're going straight into whatever those ships also hit.
Yeah,
Can one of us help?
probably.
I would say that because of the way the steering wheel works, I think 2 people would be able to help, but no more than 2. There's a spatial issue there.
I pointed at Trina and I'm like, Meditrina, you need to help with this. You're good with mechanical things like ships.
I yell at Godfrey, like, hard starboard now.
He does so, and he starts spinning it. Toby River, he's going to grab you, Trin, and he's going to instruct you to help him start pulling up the masts and folding them in such a way that it's not going to catch the wind any longer. And Fiddlix, they're going to pull you over to help push the thing. Grandma, you're on baby control.
Yeah, and I'm doing whatever I normally do, which I imagine is some sort of yelling mechanism and bell system to, like, get everybody on deck so that we can deal with this.
So yeah, he's doing a hard starboard. It's going to be a difficulty 5 check to pilot it to a hard stop. So somebody just needs to roll for him because he's got 2 people helping him. It's going to knock it down to a 3.
All right. I can roll for him.
Yeah. Grandma Parvati, if you could make me a speed roll, that's going to be a difficulty 4, and Trin, doing the maths is something that you're not necessarily familiar with. That's going to be a difficulty. It's not hard, but if it's your first time doing it, it might be a little tricky. So we're going to make it 3.
All right.
I rolled a 15.
And I rolled a 17.
Great.
I rolled a 3.
So the mast still catches sail. You hear this or a wind, and you hear this rip as it is like it's not bad. It's just not the way that it should have gone. There's no lasting damage to the ship, just the wrong way. It's not an intrusion at all. Grandma Parvati, you manage to sweep up all the children on deck, and as the ship makes that hard turn and begins to lilt, you're able to sort of buckle them against the railing. Kalia and Felix, both of you are able to spin the ship into that hard stop. The boat rocks. It still moves because of momentum, but you're at least flanking what is very apparently, as you gaze into the water, pikes that have been planted there, specifically for the purposes of capture. Hollis, balancing himself on the ship and grabbing the railing, says, "This is where they told me to go. We're going to take a break."
Yeah, that's nice. Dun, dun, dun.
Dramatic pauses. So we'll see you all in a bit. We're going to go do our human thing. And when we come back, we're going to finish up this episode. And then we're going to leave about 20 minutes at the end to answer any questions that you might have about the setting or our lovely characters. So we'll see you in a few minutes. All right. Go do human things, guys.
Yay, human things.
Okay, and we're back.
Yay!
Yep, we did a lot of bookkeeping with the very expensive crew of the Red Jade in approaching Leviathan's Claw. And now that we're here, it seems that our heroes are in a bit of a sticky situation that was not foreseen by their new friend Hollis. Yeah, spiky situation.
Nicely done.
So, the ship, you can lure it to a halt, or you can try to venture around what you can see for now. You can also make other decisions here. You've got Jasix on board, who might be able to do a bit of scouting for you. Trin also dives as well. But you do have a few options. So I guess the first thing is, are you going to maybe sort of remotely go around, see what you can see, or would you rather do it in the way that you stop the ship completely and have your diver go down and take a look around?
The ship isn't super maneuverable, so I would be worried about us trying to go through and
That's true. Galleons definitely don't have that sort of maneuverability as some of the smaller ships do.
It's like sending a Star Destroyer through an asteroid belt.
Yeah.
Sure. Anyway.
Yeah, so let's can we ask J6 to scout around a bit?
You can do that?
Yeah. I want to ask Hollis about a little bit more about. We've sort of been taking on faith a lot about this meetup, and I'm now a little bit concerned.
Yeah, he's right there with you as far as the concern goes. He looks genuinely worried. You can of course make a check if you like against him to see if that concern is genuine.
Yeah, I'd like to make an insight check on him just to see.
It's going to be
anything.
Yeah, intellect difficulty for this one is going to be 4.
Okay, I will spend whatever 3. I'm spending 3. There we go.
There you go.
18. Didn't even need.
Nope. He seems, or not seems. You pick up on. You're used to dealing with liars and cheats. So he seems genuinely concerned about this, but what you're also able to glean from having a conversation with him, and this lasts about 10 minutes as you're talking with him, trying to get as much detail as you can from him about this. There's something he definitely isn't telling you, but he also didn't expect this to be a trap as a genuine thing. This is news to him.
Sure. So if that's what I'm sort of sensing, Kalia tends to be fairly direct. So after getting as much out of him as I can and sort of, having that conversation, I finally just sort of stop the conversation and say, all right, Hollis, you seem great. I don't like slavery. You don't like slavery. But there is something you're not telling me. What is it? What is going on?
He clicks his tongue and he says, "This is one of those. If I told you, I'd have to. I'm not in the business of threatening a captain on our own ship, but I'd have to kill you if I told you."
Do I look like the kind of person who tells secrets to other people? I'm on a stolen ship. It's stolen. I stole it. I am on the run from many, many people. I basically can't go on land for more than about 2 days without getting arrested. To say that I'm not a threat to you is, I wish I could say I was a threat to you. And I certainly am here. Here on this ship if you try to kill me. But, in the long run, I don't really think it's going to be a problem.
He go ahead and roll me an intellect check to persuade, difficulty 3, and go ahead and use your stolen ship as an asset.
Cool. Okay.
It's going to be 2, unless you like
19.
Whoa, minor critical.
He clears his throat and undoes that scarf that he's been wearing for the past 2 days, and then puts it around his collar, and then he starts unbuttoning his shirt, and he uncovers his shoulders a bit, showing you all of these tattoos that he's had. It's like a full shirt of them, going down to his arms, all depicting gods of knowledge, specifically the god Iza, and he would take you, or attempt to take you, to a more private place. If people want to eavesdrop on this conversation, they may do so with a difficulty 3 speed check to kind of sneak.
I actually,
here.
I would tend to be like, the people who are here are the people, like the PCs, for lack of a better word. Trin and Fidelix and Grandma are the people who signed up for this. So I think I would probably say to him, like, all right, we're gonna have to have a huddle about this, and actually invite them in.
Yeah, that's fine. They don't need to listen in. Then that I can count that as intrinsic to your persuasion check.
Do I see a tattoo of Vidan, the god of encyclopedia writers?
No, you do not.
You're the only one.
You're the only one. This is what you signed up for, Grandma. He's very disappointed. He's like sitting over your shoulder with his hands on his thing, and he's just like, now that's just not right. But he's revealing all these tattoos to you, and he folds his hands over his lap, because I imagine you had him sit down for this, and you're just standing there with like your
we go into my cabin, like the main ship's cabin, which is like
privacy is appreciated even with a couple of bystanders. He would prefer to limit the amount of guests, preferably 1, but 4 is fine. He tells you that he is an agent belonging to a secret organization called the Elgrave Cask.
Elgrave Cask?
Mm-hmm. And that the person you are here attempting to stop is a fellow agent of that same organization. And they tend to not like slavery, typically because in all of its forms, because of the wealth system in Demir and how that relates to royalty and taking on the throne, slaves count as property. So they don't like slavers, because the more people they own, the better chance they have of rising through the ranks. And by this person engaged in this activity, she can easily funnel property out to people that she wants in power in a form of lobbying.
Interesting. Wait, so why are you trying to stop one of your own people?
They don't agree with the method of doing this. They would actually prefer to see slavery abolished entirely.
So, if you know a lot about him already, can you tell us some information that would help us stop him?
Adriana Aconcadi is...
it's a her.
It is, it's okay. He knows her to be exceedingly wealthy. She also has a penchant for cats. Like a really, really strong penchant for cats, and he knows this. But different in the way that one might keep one as a pet. She's frequently seen around Demir as a senator to their office, wearing these pelts.
How has this become a theme?
No, it's like a big cats, like panthers and the like tigers, leopards.
Together.
Yeah, she's like the Cruella de Vil of big cats.
Oh no!
Kind of thing. He also says that she's sort of a potent person. There's magic in her blood, and that she probably has quite a few allies here on this island. And now that they've arrived here, he knows it's worse than he thought. He has given her the fake name, the same name that he gave you, which is Hollis, in an attempt to arrange a deal. But it looks like the score is, to him, from an outsider perspective, just arrived here, that the way that they're settling these scores with the people they're doing business with is just to sink their ship and take their cargo anyway.
That's no fun.
Wait, so your colleague does not know who you are, has never met you before?
No, they've met before. He's given her a false identity. He's also done a lot to change his appearance, such as shaving his head, growing out a mustache, shaving his beard.
Well, you're very handsome, I must say.
He says, "Thank you. I prefer having eyebrows a lot of the time, but this is pretty good enough for me."
So what do you think our next plan should be? That lovely fish boy is out there scouting right now, but what should we do after that?
He says he isn't sure, that they should probably go on whatever information that they're given. Given that this island has ships on it, it's very likely that they have their own way in that they could navigate through. There might also be a way in more secretively, perhaps by using one of the rowboats and just kind of going in quietly. He would prefer at this point not to go in arranging the kind of deal that he thought he was getting to begin with. This is not the way he thought it would play out. And frankly, he's glad that Parvati, he's really glad that Grandma saw these ships because with the amount of different and he's completely unable to prove his identity to anyone in there. He would have been thrown into slavery with the rest of you.
I
Not
pet
great.
his back and I like nod sagely. I'm like, the gods can be very annoying, but they do sometimes help us.
He agrees.
Nice. Okay,
Cool.
so maybe we should just wait for Jasix to come back and give a report.
Yeah.
And then maybe then we should do the rowboat idea that he had.
4 PCs in a rowboat. What could ever go wrong?
What makes us think Essex is going to come back? He's going.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Felix,
Uh-oh.
always the optimist.
Realist.
Excuse my microphone for a second as I pull my chair in a little bit closer. So he's going to scout, and you can give him the designated time to scout. You can do what was that?
I had
a question.
I had a raised hand. Can I cast a blessing on him before he leaves?
Yes, you can do that. What kind of blessing are you going to give him?
Yeah, so I have it's actually my focus power, fleet of foot. I can touch someone and then they can move an extra short distance each round.
How long does that last?
It probably not very long. I think it's a combat spell. I can look that up.
Is it
But either way, I want to give it to him just to give him a small boost.
Okay.
So he gets a head start even, right?
He would probably appreciate that.
You probably don't have that in the normal book.
Oh, is it?
It's in the strange book.
Yeah, I would not
I
have
will
that.
pull that up, but in the meantime, I kind of cast that.
Okay, great.
And that, just so everyone knows, that is a blessing from Vilambit, the patron deity of those who are habitually late.
That's an important deity for me.
That's so important. Whew. Okay, moving faster when you need it most and least deserve it. Perfect. You all can designate how long he's going to scout for you. And I will say that the amount of time and distance that he goes is going to impact how difficult the check resulting will be. It's going to be a speed check, basically, not to be noticed, and this one will be fairly simple, but if he is noticed, it's might turn out pretty bad pretty quickly. But how long would you all like him to go and stay out there?
My spell will last 10 minutes.
Great.
Is that how long we're sending him out? Does he have very clear orders? Is he just poking around, or if we give him a very clear... Is he looking for something specific?
The more clear you give him, the better. What do you want to get out of the? Because he can scout. This is the idea that he gives, but he's not necessarily sure what he's looking for without some guidance on that. So that'll be left up to you all.
Yeah, if you don't tell him very specifically what to look for, he's gonna come back
Very small
with a
words.
lovely inventory of all the colorful fish that he saw.
Okay, what do you know? Captain and Fidelix are more used to this kind of stuff.
I feel like we want to know. I mean, there's two things I'm worried about. I'm worried about a couple things. I'm worried about further traps.
Mm.
I'm worried about if there's a path through, and I'm wondering if there's anyone here. I think the third one is probably the most important, whether there's people here, and also like the easiest.
Okay. So he's looking for traps, people, and what was the other thing again? Sorry.
A way through if you can find one.
People and a way through. Okay.
Does that sound okay? Or
no, that sounds perfect.
Yeah, I'd say it's.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say if Fidelix was to try to articulate to him, he'd say signs of life, imminent danger, and a way through.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if he sees anything that he deems unusual, he should mention that as well.
Okay, and also unusual things. So he's looking for 4 things, and he can retain that stuff. He's not he just needs clear. Yeah, he's not too fish-brained. He's a little bit, but specific directions for him to remember things are important. So
he's a good boy.
He's a good boy. So the final thing is, how long do you want him to take? How far should he go before he turns back? And how long do you feel comfortable having your ship here?
I would think not more than like 20-30 minutes. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'd be
probably
concerned about him going off by himself for much longer
so is
than
that,
20 minutes.
Is that 15 minutes in and 15 back?
My instincts say it's about 10 minutes per each thing we gave him. That's just my instinct.
Yeah, I feel like that sounds right.
That's actually a really good and logical thing. So 2, 3. So yeah, that's going to be 40 minutes out and 40 minutes in, and that includes some just thorough investigation of the area, and also taking his time and making sure he doesn't go up to the surface too often. He does have scaly features that make him blend into the surrounding environment better. So as long as he doesn't go up to the surface too much, he shouldn't have too much of an issue. Mm-hmm.
And I speed him up for 10 of those minutes.
Yeah, and that's great. So it's going to be cut down, instead of 80 minutes, just 70. So you're going to be waiting there for a little bit over an hour as he chugs along and tries to find the 4 things that you're asking for. So I'll let you all choose. You can make 1 check for him or 4.
I'm always a big fan of fewer dice rolls.
Fewer dice rolls are fine. So this is going to be an intellect check roundabout, and we're going to make it a difficulty. Actually, let's do scaling for this.
Yep.
Yeah, let's just do scaling. The higher you roll, the more information you get, because all of these things have different task difficulties associated with them. So somebody, anyone? Actually, I think it's more appropriate if Trin should make this roll. So go ahead and give us a roll for Jasix. It's going to be intellect based, and you can have him spend, spend points out of his pool. Although usually NPCs have hit points.
Don't have pool, right? Yeah.
Only.
Well, I think we should. I mean, I don't know. Seems like
we can flesh him out and just let you guys control him as well. That's a thing we can do. But yeah. Cool. Go ahead and make me a roll, Trin. Gonna be intellect based.
Okay. Oh, that is a 20.
A natural 20?
Yeah.
That's...
Oh my god, yes!
So,
he's a very good boy.
He's such a good boy. So he's gone for a little bit over an hour. By the time it gets into the hour, that's the time that, like, your bones start shaking and, like, where is he? We're all sitting ducks out here. Eventually he comes back up to the ship. clambers on board and throws himself onto the deck, and he looks really happy, beyond those very stable and kind of plastic fish features. And he tells you things he saw. The first of which, signs of life. And those signs of life, he saw mostly Therans. They're all in some sort of black uniform that he's not quite familiar with, but he's able to give you the insignia on their clothing. And Hollis identifies that as the sigil of House Akonkade.
Okay.
Do you have a question? Is your hand up?
No. Sorry, I was, somebody just came home.
Oh, okay. Nice. He counts about, there were 2 people guarding an entrance, but then he counted about 10 more. That would be, and as far as a way in goes, he says that he saw a way in, but it seemed to be heavily patrolled by other boats. The way in through here, there seems to be a more secure entrance that might be more difficult to get in, but easier to get in unnoticed. And he saw roughly 10 different people over the course of the hour. So it's not, it's heavily patrolled, but there's a staggering to it. As far as imminent danger goes, those people all brandish weapons of various kinds, mostly spears. But he thinks there's something weird about the spears in general. There's something about them that didn't sit right with them. In particular, the men wearing them or donning them had to wear these gloves with various bits of metal on them. As far as other imminent dangers, all of the ways seem trapped, I guess, in various ways. Mm-hmm. There are more spikes and the like, but nothing underwater that would be caught. He managed to move through without anything wrong. So if you all were able to go under the water with him, he could just take you up to the entrance entirely. The other way, however, has like search towers, different forms of weaponry. It's very, very patrolled over there. Many more people. And anything unusual? There's quite a bit of cargo that was unclaimed from some of the shipwrecks. A lot of things that there's food and stuff, but he saw something that caught his eye, glimmers of treasure, maybe, and he folds his hands over Trin's and says, very excitedly, maybe bits of technology.
Fish boy, and I kiss him on the forehead.
Aww, he's a good fish boy.
He's a very good fish boy.
Can the consequence of the natural 20 be that he brought back like a Cypher, maybe?
Oh yeah, we could do that. He might have been able to bring back a Cypher.
He's like, I found some of the strange things I found. I brought one back.
Yeah, that seems incredibly reasonable to me. Let's see here. I can't access all of the decks that I have right now, mostly because one of them is up in the corner. Let me see. Actually, Skyra, you're on Roll20, right?
Yeah.
Let me deal you. Great. I'm gonna deal this to Skyra though, because this specifically deals with and there we go.
Oh, here it is. It is. Let me see it.
What? Oh, I can steal it.
Oh, are you able to see it?
She'll have to give it to you, though.
There's...
I think you can right-click it and choose to flip it.
Oh, thank you.
Show.
There we go.
I also have the Encyclopedia of Impossible Things open if we want to use that.
There we go.
I need all these books and all these cards. This game system is awesome.
Yeah.
I've developed a Cypher addiction. As soon as she started rolling, I was like, oh yeah, keep giving me.
Yeah,
Cyphers are really good game mechanic.
Yeah.
Well, I just love rolling on tables. Like, I'm one of those people who would just roll everything on a table if I could. So they make me happy.
As part of the Strange Kickstarter, I got the Encyclopedia of Impossible Thing, which is like dozens and dozens of items and stuff.
Yeah. Shrine, you're more familiar with the Strange. Can you help me identify this?
Let me see if I can see different screen. I can't really read that.
Okay. It says Standard Physics, Earth Badge, Magic Adept.
Okay, it says Standard Physics. What else?
Magic.
Those three things in the Strange, because there are multiple universes, that's just the form it takes in a universe with standard physics, or in a universe with magic, or in a universe with weird science. So it's you can decide really what it looks like. Yeah.
So it's a lavender periapt.
Oh.
Cool.
Okay, and what does it do? I cannot read that.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
It actually doesn't say what it does. Beautiful.
Okay, should I just roll for something random on my Strange table?
Yes, please.
Okay, someone roll me a D100.
I can do it. I like rolling.
Roll you up into my heart.
49.
49 is a poisonous respiratory attack. So that is interesting. That sounds very technological, so that's good. I will pull up the actual item itself. Sorry, it's a few pages down. Okay, sorry. Respiratory attack poisonous. So, Skyra, roll me a d6.
Alright. That's a 3.
So it's a level 5 Cypher.
Ooh.
The user's respiratory system is altered for 1 hour, granting them immunity to poison gas, and they can exhale a puff of poisonous vapor at a victim in immediate range that inflicts 2 points of speed damage, which ignores armor, for a number of rounds equal to the level.
Oh, damn.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
That's really cool.
So you
5
become immune
rounds?
to poison, and then you breathe in someone's face, and for 5 rounds, they take 2 armor-ignoring speed damage.
That's really funny.
Yes.
Now, Trin, I believe you're at your Cypher maximum for your character, because you can hold 2, but you have a big ship, so you can leave something here if you want to take that into the place with you.
Yeah.
You can also hand me one of the ones you don't want. I have a 1 slot left.
Oh, really? Do you have 3 slots?
All adepts have 3 Cypher slots.
Oh.
Well,
You can carry it.
yeah, I think I'm gonna hand you my, what is it? Sorry. Let me pull up my sheet again. Yeah, I'm gonna hand you my necklace, which is a gem of enmity.
Wait. Okay. If I'm like seeing you do that, I actually might stop you because I'm like, no, but I have a really good plan with those. Because I mean, we have a group of people.
Yeah.
There's 10 of them. We have 2 of these. Also, can I just flavor them that they're matching yin and yang friendship necklaces?
Yes, absolutely.
Friendship necklaces.
But
They're friendship necklaces that break friendship, and I think that's the greatest gift of all.
Yay! But I don't know. I was planning to use my fancy necklace. I don't know if you wanna keep your fancy necklace or. Right, that's true.
I can't pass off my friendship necklace though, because that's also just like a good luck charm, and
Obviously.
yes. So you know what, Grandma, you can hang on to this invention that I made. It's a magnetic attack drill. You just throw it, and it latches onto someone, especially if they're wearing any metal on them. It'll have an advantage to hitting them, and it will drill into them for 1 round.
Oh,
That's
wow.
terrifying.
Okay, how much
That's
damage
really
is it?
terrifying.
That is a 1d6 plus 2 damage.
Yeah, it's equal to Cypher level, which hasn't been rolled yet.
So I'll just roll it. It is a level 4.
And just so you know, Marcie, I just rolled my necklace because I was thinking about it. It's a level 5.
Great.
Perfect. Oh, Meditrina, your inventions are always so useful. I will hold on to this.
Here, since we're rolling stuff, what do I roll to determine what level my necklace is?
1d6 plus 2.
Okay. Oh, mine's only a 3.
Yeah. You
I
gave
guess
me the,
I gave you the good
better one. Oh,
I did. Because you're my best friend, Kalia.
Can I say the new Cypher is amazing? I love it.
I love it a lot.
The Cyphers in the strange. They're so strange.
Well, we're gonna
a poisonous breathing person. That's amazing.
Yeah. No, we're gonna make some ones that are custom for this setting too. So this will be a fun
Wait, that's
time.
so exciting.
Yep. So if I can glean, so here's the let's break down the plan. To get into this place, now you can take the water route that he's offering. However, if you're seen, that causes you to be in the water taking attacks from the surface, and that's a dangerous place to be in. So that comes with its own risks as well. Jasix, of course, would be unaffected, but he's also not too great in combat either. He's more of a reconnaissance guy. He could help you, but mechanically speaking, he's really a level 2 creature.
Should we ask him to stay back?
You can ask him to stay back as well.
What do you guys think?
Here's Fiddlix's impressions of how he would handle this. Fiddlix would not do well underwater. He is an armor.
Oh yeah, he does have heavy armor.
However, he is a master deceiver, a known bounty hunter. And his thought would be, give me a crew member, particularly one that trusts me, or 3 or 4 that trust me, shackle and chain them up, and I'm going to be taking them in Trojan horse style. And then we're going to create a diversion. Or at least a distraction, so the rest of us can get in. That's how
awesome.
Fiddle would handle it.
That's awesome. I mean, there's definitely a lot of crew members who are escaped slaves who probably wouldn't be up for this, but there are probably some who are.
I believe the half that have sided with me and have become friends, hopefully they're older than 5, they might be up for it.
Hollis is going to offer to come with you at the forefront of this. Even though he suspects it was a trap, he's hoping that getting in unscathed will be enough to throw them off their guard, to let you pass through just that much easier.
Yeah, and the way I'm playing this, are any of you familiar with the hit TV series from HBO about a decade ago, The Wire?
Yes. Yeah.
This is Omar coming. Fiddlix is coming, right?
Good.
They know me, and they know what I'm all about.
Well, I just...
Yes, I get the Maryland flag.
Yeah, I know,
I just...
flag. Awesome.
I've written 100-page dissertations on The Wire.
The Wire is very important.
Yes. So
very relevant to my life.
I am moving in, and it's one of those things, kind of whistling the farmer in the dell. I've got my glaive over my shoulder. I've got slaves in tow, and just kind of come rowing in.
Okay.
Unthreatening.
You can do that.
So I'm trying to think. So that J6 is offering us a path underwater that would pop us up.
Take you in, but you can't hold your breath for as long as he can.
I was gonna say.
So if you develop maybe reeds or something to breathe through, that might help. People might still spot that, but it's definitely a more tricky maneuver. It has its own risks, but there's a chance that you could get to the front unnoticed. The other thing that you could do is go with Fiddlix and have breakaway manacles. You have somebody on board the ship that can facilitate the crafting of those.
I am an old woman. I don't do very well in underwater shenanigans. Fidelix is a very competent person. I have seen him in action. I trust that plan a little more.
And
I feel like. Oh,
Yeah,
go ahead.
No,
So
no,
Trin-
you go first. You're the captain.
Trin can swim, right? Like Trin's
Yeah.
got underwater diving stuff, right?
Yeah, I am specifically trained in swimming, and I have extra endurance, so I can actually stay underwater for like twice as long as a
Whoa!
So I'm
Nice.
also trained in swimming, because I'm on a boat. I don't have an extra endurance thing, but if I kind of think like if there's 10 guards in front and we have our fancy necklaces that make people angry at each other, like we may be able to take those guards out, and then if there's a distraction, like hopefully we can get all the way in. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
With- yeah. While you guys are just sort of, do the flank, that's
And I have
tactics,
metal
right?
death. I can spray it on the slaves and start cracking their manacles and become brittle as glass.
Cool. I just need a way to breathe. That's the only thing. I don't have a cipher that will help me. Let me think. Let's see.
Do I have enough time to craft a thing?
I would say that if you spend about it depends.
Just a very simplistic breathing device,
If
probably
you-
kind of like a
Like a snorkel.
Yeah, you can probably spend an hour and craft one of those with using material in the junk room.
Cool.
Excellent. Yeah, I think I would like to do that.
Okay.
I like that there's a whole room in the ship that should be properly labeled the junk room. Separate from cargo storage. Just the junk room.
Hollis offers that perhaps if you stay underwater behind the boat that Fiddlix will be coming in on with Grandma, you can use that as cover and just kind of swim underneath. And
Makes sense.
behind a little bit, just use it like that.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
So,
All right. So I have a breathing apparatus.
mhm.
I can swim. Cool. That's where I'm at. Do we
Yep,
want to?
I'm gonna be in the boat with Fidelix. Can I put like a hood or something on?
Of course. If you don't have any thing that you can create a hood with now, although I know Grandma doesn't pack light.
I got a burlap sack.
Oh, I can use my sari. I can
Of
do
course
the
you do.
I can do the northern style of sari where I drape it over my head.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So I go to have my ladylike privacy and I change the way I'm putting my sari on.
Yeah. Okay.
Excellent.
You can certainly do that. So you all chug into the boat. They can actually send the boat away if you'd like, just to kind of keep it out of harm's way. Or they
I
can-
think that makes sense.
Okay. And they'll,
Um,
if you want to give them a time to designate. To
Are there
meet
are there
back.
islands around here? We're in like a string of islands, right? Can
Yeah.
they like go hide behind an island? So they're
Yeah.
not obviously in sight.
They can certainly do that for you.
Yeah.
So, if the plan is, if I'm understanding it correctly, you're going to take a few of the crew members in shackles. Grandma, are you going to like pose as one of the prisoners here, or are you going to pose as the as like the bad cop to Fiddlix is also bad cop?
I think she should pose as the mastermind.
I am the madame.
Okay.
Yes.
Sounds good.
I'm imagining one of the crew members comes up with the shackles to me, and I just give them a look like.
and then you
Put it on them. You
put
go,
it
yeah,
on
make it extra
them.
tight, and then slap them.
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
Oh gosh. Okay. So you get into the boat, start making your way through the pathway, and Jasix would have drawn this out for you real quick with charcoal and paper to show you exactly the route you should take to avoid more of those nasty spines in the water. And Kalia and Trin trail from underneath the water.
Cool.
I hate to ask, but I have to, in the interest of drama. Fiddlix, did you take Dimitri?
I feel like this should be just left to
Not
chance.
only did I take Dimitri, he was the first. And while everyone else isn't actually shackled, it just looks like they are. We've done his locks.
Oh, God.
Why?
Because it has to look real. They're going to check the first one.
I
Okay.
think Fidelix is a professional, and this is a very wise maneuver he just did.
Yeah. So let's start from the top here. You don't really need to make any checks to row. I assume that you're probably
We're lighting
making.
a torch. We want them to know we're coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No deceit.
Yeah. So lighting a torch, you're probably making the prisoners row as well.
Sure.
Oh no, they're shackled. It's going to be Fiddlix. He's just sitting
Okay.
backwards and he's whistling the farmer in the dell. Just
Very open. As you pass by, you hear the sounds clicking of various crossbows. You easily recognize the sound as they click into place. And I just need you to roll for me. We'll call this a cool check. Keeping your cool from both of you.
Like Edge.
Can I? Oh, okay. Can I? So this intellect. Can I spend intellect?
Yes, you can spend intellect to pass this difficulty task. I'm gonna keep that to myself. Yeah, I'm gonna keep that one to myself because you're not quite sure what the inner workings of this guard is. You got a really detailed surveillance back though. All you would know is that let's give you the base. You need to beat is 3.
Okay.
Okay,
but it might be higher than that.
And I want to talk about just briefly, fictionally, everything we've established. This episode, in fact, we had mentioned at the start that Fiddlix is always cool under pressure.
Always.
Skill-wise, that translates into his resisting interrogations, deceptions, etc. He is trained in that. I think I'd like to use... Now, can you explain to me mechanically the benefits of using Edge?
So if you're going to use Edge, so there are mechanical benefits and drawbacks to it. The benefits to using Edge is that it lowers the task difficulty for you. When I hide it, when I obscure it from you, if you're trained in that, add 3 to your roll. So that you still get the benefit of it.
Oh no! I think you're talking about Edge. Edge is number of points removed from spending.
Oh yeah. So sorry, I'm sorry. Yes, Edge. Using Edge. Do you have an Edge in intellect?
I do.
So every time you use an ability or spend effort, you reduce that number by the amount in your Edge pool.
Okay.
So instead of spending 3 points to get an effort, you would spend 2 points.
Cool. I'm
Right.
going to use. I'm going to use some effort, and at my tier, am I able to use 1, 2? I can use 2. That am I understanding correctly?
You can use
Yeah.
1 effort, which means normally 3 points of intellect, but with the Edge, it becomes 2 points.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
This
Understand
also,
completely.
Yep, this also counts towards your powers as well. So your terrifying presence, instead of costing you 3, it costs you 2.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
I'd be in better shape. And essentially, as I'm doing that, I'm going to roll in, and I think it's time to do this. So, friends in chat, we're going to bring up that's the fox.
The fox.
And let's window bring up, not Twitter. Let's pull up this. There's roll 20. And let's make this roll. So I'm going to use an effort, and I'm going to make it go. I did not. Oh, I rolled a 13.
Cool. And I rolled a 12.
Great.
And I spent an effort.
Excellent. You both pass.
So I
So
look.
the crossbows click into place, but there's no follow-up. In fact, after they do, there's quite a few moments of silence, and then you can start hearing confused whispers sort of break out amongst the people. It's getting dark at this point, so Trin and Kalia, you need to make no checks to hide. The water is dark and conceals you easily. You can use the underside of the rowboat to know where you are. You don't get lost.
The water is dark and full of terror.
Trin, I need you to make a might check to hold your breath, unless you also made for yourself a snorkel as well.
I will make that might check.
Okay. We'll make the difficulty starting at 3, and in a little bit more time you might need to make another one.
Okay, can I spend an effort to reduce the difficulty?
Yes, you can. So now you're at 2.
Okay.
And if you have edge, please remember to knock off one of those points.
Yes. I lost my pencil. Oh, it's right in my dice box. Here we go. Okay. Because I do have an edge, so does that make it a 1? Or how does that work?
2.
It's 2. Okay.
Yep. Usually it's 3 if you have 1 edge. If you were to have 2 edge, which is kind of rare at this point for first-year characters, you knock off 2, but just spend.
You
Okay.
can spend that when you get 4 experience. One of the things you can get is an extra edge or an extra effort.
That's
Okay.
correct.
All right, and then just keep in mind that my endurance would double my duration underwater.
Nice.
So I rolled a 14.
Great.
So I believe that should be a solid pass.
Excellent. Yeah, you do. Solidly pass, you're able to hold your breath. And Kalia, you're using a snorkel.
I am.
So I haven't been spending as much time intruding on you as I feel I should. Because what if that snorkel for some reason were to malfunction?
What if that were to happen?
So I'm going to intrude upon you.
Okay.
You can pay me an XP to avoid this. But
I just
you can also take the intrusion, and suddenly it might fill up with water, and you would feel the need to start holding your breath.
let me think. I'll take your intrusion.
Excellent.
Sure. What could go wrong?
Great. You get an XP, and you get an XP to give to somebody else.
Trin,
I
you
love
can have
intrusions.
this XP, for building me this crappy snorkel.
Thank you. I feel like I don't even deserve it. But I'll take it anyway.
Trin, everyone loves Trin.
Everyone loves
Okay, so your snorkel starts filling up with water, and you immediately spit it out. I'm not going to be super mean and have that go flooding down your lungs. That's
Thanks.
yeah, you're welcome.
And kill me.
Right? But what it does do is it's going to throw you off your guard a little bit, and you need to start holding your breath. And that's going to be pretty immediate, and for the rest of at least getting to the end and them getting through the door as well.
Cool.
So
Gonna be good.
let's start off with a mic check to hold your breath. And this is going to be a difficulty of... We'll start it off at 2. You still have a good amount of breath left. You've been breathing through it.
Sorry. I fell on the ground. Suck.
This is so exciting.
11.
11, perfect. Yep. You were able to sort of psych yourself up for this, psychologically speaking. You started feeling trickles. It wasn't like a huge flood of water that entered into it. So by the time you realize you can't use it anymore, you shove it to the side, or you can keep it in case you feel like it might come in handy. Like a tube is pretty good.
Right? Like it has a...
Yep.
Right.
So yeah, you can pocket that or stuff it into your belt.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you're stuck without a snorkel for right now.
So it's dark, right?
It's also dark.
So if it's dark, I have less concern about my weird plan right now, which is, where is this thing broken?
Because the pipe itself.
Okay.
Or...
How much unbroken pipe do I have left?
You aren't sure. You would need to actually inspect it, blow through it, see where the bubbles come out, if that makes sense.
I gotcha.
For right now, you kind of have bigger concerns.
Fair. I was wondering if I could just try my dumb idea, and if it doesn't work, make another bite check.
What's your dumb idea? Tell me about it.
Back float with a, with my head, and so that I'm right across the top of the water, but my profile is low, with a little snorkel of just the pipe. So I'm way above Trin. Trin's down below, but I'm, next to the boat. You can try that. You're going to have to make a speed roll. Sure.
For the stealth check. You can try that regardless. I would hesitate to say you should use the pipe. It's fairly long. It's long, like a reed sort of thing that you would use to give yourself a little bit of extra space. But you can definitely bounce up your head every once in a while to take a breath.
That was my thought. Okay. So just a stealth roll to sort of be hopping up and down.
And I'm going to give you the difficulty for this. These guys are whistling, carrying a torch, drawing attention to themselves. The water is dark, but it's not as dark as it is. It's dark, but they're drawing a lot of attention to themselves. I'm going to make this a difficulty 5 task.
I am going to spend because I got buttloads of speed. Not buttloads, but some.
All the loads.
And nope. 9.
Whew. So, you all hear on top. You would hear muffled whispering, but it's not what they hear, which is somebody very succinctly saying in the darkness amidst the whispers, "There's somebody behind that boat."
Did I hear that?
Yes, with your foxy ears, yes.
Yep, and I go, "Punishment for slacker crew. They gotta swim the way in."
Nice. That was
You
really
know how
good.
it is. Hard to find good help these days.
That's really clever. Whoa.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a check to deceive. We'll make this we're gonna make this difficult.
Can I assist with this?
Yes, you can assist with this. I'm gonna make this rather hard. This is gonna be challenging. They have people trying to break in and rescue their friends all the time. This is
I would think.
I'm gonna make this formidable even. This is gonna be a difficulty 7.
Oh man, I stand no chance. But let's talk about this.
Sure. Because you've got a lot working for you. So
I want to hear a
let's do the negotiation thing, because this is what should happen with almost every check.
I think the fact that I have a boat full of prisoners and my calm demeanor, and as soon as I hear, "Hey, there's someone," and I immediately hear it and chime in and be like, "That's my crew that I punish the way I see fit."
Can I help out by yelling out? Because I hear this, right?
Yes.
By yelling out, "This is terrible!" and generally groaning and being horrible.
No, if you do that, they're going to want us to kill you to make an example out of you. You're not allowed to shirk and complain about your punishment. Just understand discipline.
Okay, so you've knocked it down by 2 assets so far.
Okay.
So you're looking at a 5. And I think 2 assets is the most you can do as far as assets
that's the most
are
I can
concerned.
do. But
you can still spend effort.
I'm trained in deception.
Mm-hmm.
I am.
Knock it down to a 4.
I can spend an effort.
Mm-hmm.
3.
And should I fail, I have an XP I can use.
That's true.
Good point.
All right,
so you're looking at a 3. You knocked down a 7 to a 3.
This is so exciting!
There's the fox again. This is brought to you by The Fox Goes Free. So let's bring this up. In chat, I want you to put your hands together, donate some bits, and pray for Mr. Fiddlix, because I love this game and I'd hate to die in session number 2.
Session 2.
Let's see us roll a natural one.
I got a 14, so I beat it.
They start laughing when you say that really hard, and one of them like elbows the other one and says, "I remember when she did that to you."
Can we? I love the dynamic. Can we say like Fidelix is the taskmaster of the pair of us, and I am the like silent madame who like doesn't
I believe it.
wait
Yeah.
to speak to them.
Are you?
Yes. He's
So-
the mouth.
He's the gatekeeper. Are you the keymaster?
Yes.
Okay.
We're nerds.
We are
We're-
nerds.
I love this.
So yeah, you roll up the rest of the way. Trin, I just need you to make one more check. This one's going to be a little bit more difficult than the last one, or you can attempt to go up subtly for a breath of air. It's your choice. One's going to be a speed roll, the other one will be a might roll. And both of them are going to be difficult. Well, actually, the speed roll will be difficulty 5. Same thing as what Kalia got. All eyes are on the ship, or boat rather, or difficulty 4 to hold your breath.
Is it easier for her to hold her breath because she has her endurance?
She can hold her breath longer. You were all rowing for about 5 or 6 minutes into this place before she had to make her first check.
Nice.
Because the average human is about 2 to 3 minutes, so she can hold her breath twice as long as that.
Look at you, deep diver.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time underwater. I'm going to.
I could see that's a fair argument because she has that endurance. I could see lowering that difficulty a bit for her to hold her breath, so we can knock it down to a 3.
Okay. Alright, I think I'm just gonna try for it.
I love that because it shows that our engineer is a well-rounded human. Her hobbies include diving.
She's a tannin. She's got a bit of demon in her. What did you roll?
Okay.
Or what are you rolling for?
18.
Ooh! Yeah, you managed to hold your breath, and it's no surprise to you. You just kind of like look at Kalia open floating, and really nice.
And I glare.
But you all make your way to the door at this point, and in the it's more like a chamber. It's about 8 feet wide, about 10 feet tall from the surface of the water, and it's very covered. There are dim torches lighting up either side of it, and there are so many shadows. Kalia, if you like, you can give Trin a sort of physical signal to let her know that this is actually a pretty safe place to pop up your heads. There's so much water lapping that coming up doesn't cause the amount of noise attraction that it normally would out on the open water. At this point...
I like wave her up.
Okay. At this point, the 2 guards, both flanking the door, look you up and down and say, so what's all this then?
And I stand up and I like look at them and I like look at the fox as those deal with these bombs who I don't wish to speak to. Because he's our trained speaker.
Yes, and then I look at them. Was it one of them who spoke, or 2?
Yeah, just one. They're both looking at you. We'll say the guy on the left is speaking to you. He's a bald-headed man wearing very, very patchwork armor. He's still wearing the tabard with the same symbol of the house on it, but all around looks like a hired grunt of some kind.
Dropping off the latest to be taken in as slaves, as we were ordered.
His eyes look at the slaves up and down, look to you, madam, the madam, and also Mr. Hollis, and he cocks his head to the side and says, What happened to your normal vessel?
And I like whisper something that's not really anything to the ear of the fox to look like I'm being, commanding.
I love this.
I literally just whisper, "Hocha, hocha, 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 hocha," into the
Peas and
fox's
carrots,
ear.
peas and carrots, peas and
Yeah.
carrots.
Watermelon, watermelon.
Alligator watermelon. Yeah. And I sort of look back at them and I kind of smirk and say, you know how dangerous it's become for those of us in our line of business. And I pull down a bit of my fur and I show a wicked scar that I have. I got this scar years ago, not on a bounty hunt, from when my mother whipped me for being stupid and loud and not going to sleep. But I show him, it's dangerous for those of us in our kind of business.
Oh, I do, because I have my claws, right? I gently run my claws down his neck just to make a point. Like,
and I look at him and I say, the usual vessel is going to need to be rebuilt. But get used to seeing this one till we patch up the holes in the last.
His eyes narrow. I'm going to need you to make a deception check. Just one more, and it's going to be a difficulty 3.
Okay. I'm going to use it. Dice, do not fail me.
I'm definitely aiding, I think, because I'm being... Like,
so,
you're aiding and I'm trained in deception, so does it go down to 1?
It does go down to 1. If you spend 3 points out of your intellect pool, if you have that left to spend,
I do.
You don't have to roll at all.
2 points, yeah.
Yeah, but I'd like
2
to
points.
roll.
Okay. That's okay. So what'd you get?
I do have plenty. We're gonna roll, and I rolled a 13.
Nice. He nods and goes, yeah, I know it's difficult myself. And he shows you one of his scars. It's this wicked looking lightning scar going all down his arm. And he says, I got this from a stray cable and somebody decided to whip it with. And the other guy just punches him in the shoulder and says, stop talking to the independent contractors.
Yes!
I let him know, and I kind of want to intervene. I want to look at the next one. I say, I like your style. You run this outfit out here. You keep him in line. He knew. Not familiar with protocol. And then I turn back to the other one as he doesn't answer. I go, notice that? No answers. Keeps his business to himself.
Oh, gosh.
Can I take the moment while they're talking, because I'm silent in my sorry, can I try and check out the spears they're holding and why they're interesting?
Mm-hmm.
And the one that doesn't talk, I'm going to turn and use my enthralling power, where if I just keep talking, he will be mesmerized by me.
And Colleen, you of course they already think that you're with them. They are, but they didn't know that. But you can feel free to pull yourself up out of the water, unless you're waiting for a signal.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay in the water, just sort of like look at but close to the shore, because I feel like getting back in the boat would be weird. Because I'm not shackled, and I don't want to be shackled. So I'm going to just stay in the water.
He introduced you as one of his
right. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, Okay.
You're not a prisoner being punished. You're a crew member being punished.
Oh, that makes more sense. Cool. Yeah. So I want to know about these spears, actually. That was what I was going to do if I had time. So I can either assist or I can roll the same thing?
Yeah, you could roll the same thing. Madame Parvati is using scan.
Can I do that without alerting them?
There's not a lot of things that Madame Parvati does that doesn't alert people.
She's like scary and loud.
Yeah, you'd be staring, your eyes would glow white.
Yeah, and then
You can play that off as much as you like. I can't
Oh yeah,
really
you know what?
answer
You know
for
what?
that until you tell me how you're going to do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at them, and I'm gonna whisper to the fox. I'm gonna whisper to Fedelix and I'm literally whispering to tell him that I need to check if any of them have been enchanted by the enemy or something. Like I tell Fidelix to tell them that, because I would not tell them that. So I'm pretending that my scan is to like, make sure that they're the right people we have to, liaise with.
All right, and can you repeat what you want me to be telling them? Because I'm rambling right now.
Right. So I tell you to say that the Madame will take a moment to ascertain your identities.
The Madame will take a moment to ascertain your identities, which is very important. Being one fox out of 9, the youngest. And then I'm going. And then they're gonna start learning all my mommy issues too.
Yeah, I think we know already.
But they don't.
I gently lift up my sari a little bit, and I look at them, and I whisper under my breath a prayer to Vidan, and I do scan, and my eyes again go white, and hundreds of lines of text like fill them as I try and scan the spears.
Yeah.
So cool.
You did this last time with the poison. What it technically was modifying the spell. So for the immediate spell, what you get is that the items that they're carrying are magical. They are some kind of level 4
magical effect.
Yeah, magical effect. They are the items on them are ciphers. It's not intrinsic to the spear itself. It's something they attach to it.
Yeah.
Now, with a difficulty 4 intellect check, you can determine exactly what that is.
Yeah, I will.
And that would be modifying your spell to do it.
Yeah, perfect. I will try that. And I rolled an 11, damn.
Oof, yeah, you're not sure what they do, but you do know it's at least wicked. Kalia, you can try that as well. For you, it's going to be a little bit higher. It's buffed for him by the fact that Parvati is already using a spell, and I don't think Kalia is. She would be aware of magic, though not practiced in it herself.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trained in identifying, which is the Cypher identification.
That's pretty good. So yeah, it's going to be the same thing. Difficulty 4 task for you.
Okay, and I'm going to spend. So, and that's a natural 1.
Ooh!
Do you have intuition?
She's the best.
Okay, let's do this.
Oh my god!
Oh no.
So, what's the best way to intrude? Oh, okay. So you were trying to get a look at the spears. One of the guards feeling especially, what's the word?
Zealous.
Zealous, yes. This is already a person being punished, and she's being really nosy. So he's just going to take one of his spears because you really wanted to know what it did. And he's going to attack you with it. And that's going to be a free attack on his part. You still get to roll a defense against it. Roll me a speed check. Difficulty is going to be increased by 2 because you're going from water, and he also has the upper level.
So what am I trying to hit?
5. Task difficulty 5. Speed roll.
16. Bam.
Whew.
Wow!
That's nice. Maybe it's the salinity in the water that's dispersing all of this, but you hear a cackle of electricity.
Or maybe I'm just awesome.
Yeah, maybe. You hear a cackle of electricity as that thing hits the water, and the guy looks at you and says, "You like that?"
Oh, I
don't talk. Don't talk. Can she talk? And he looks at you, Felix.
She can't talk.
You can't talk.
As
and
the
he flips it up. They all budge elbows and laugh with each other.
As the electricity crackles, I pull the sari again against my head, but I smile and I finger one of my hair ornaments, which I know can protect us all against electricity.
Awesome.
Ooh. Oh, right, you got that Cypher. Beautiful.
Nice.
But yeah, Trin, would you like to surface, or did you want to poke around down under the water? I think this is going to be our last bit for this evening before we start a Q&A.
I think it would probably be about the time where I would need to try to surface.
Okay.
I would try to do so very carefully alongside the back edge of the rowboat.
Sneaky and quiet.
Yes.
Okay, so you have, like I described before, there's about 1.5 foot of lapping water on either side of the boat. So in those shadowy darknesses, that's a chance for you to get a breath of air. But if you like, you can also poke around in the bottom for a bit, or you can emerge. This is a very, I don't want to call it kick down the door fashion, because it's much more, there's a lot more subterfuge than that. So you can attempt to play yourself off as a member of these people, or you can do something else. It's your choice.
Yeah, I forget. Did Jasik say there was some kind of way in underwater?
He didn't find a way in underwater, but at this point, that might have been like not necessarily not what he was looking for, because he was looking for a way in, but he might just not have found it. He is only a level 3 creature, so he really doesn't find anything over that. So if you were to take a look yourself, you might find something.
Yeah, I would like to take a quick breath and then go back underwater to explore a bit more.
All right, you easily do so. And you can roll me an intellect check to investigate the area. See if you find anything interesting or otherwise.
Yeah, I only got a 3, so...
Ooh. Yeah, you don't find anything that he didn't already find.
Yeah, it doesn't help that it's dark out, I'm sure.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't, and you don't have any, particularly glowing rods or visually enhancing things to help you in this other than your dive goggles. They only help so much. But you search around for a bit, and you find some engravings in the wall, but maybe this is just a sunken wall that used to have writing on it. It's far beyond reading with the amount that it's been eroded by both wind and sea at this point.
Cool.
And I think that's about our time for this evening. Now, we set aside...
So just so I remember exactly where we are.
Yes.
She's below the water, and the rest of the 3 of us are holding together a very thinly veiled ruse to avoid being killed by slavers.
Yes.
That's where we're leaving this off.
Yes.
Good.
Yep. There are several things that she could do, but we're going to find out what she does do next week on the Owl of Lysia. Now, for right now, we are going to be taking questions from the audience for about the next 20 minutes or so. So if you have any questions for our players or myself, please go ahead and shoot them out to us. We'd love to hear what you want to ask, and we'd love to divulge a little bit about the world building process, or the world that we've sort of thrown together with sticks and glue. It gets a little bit more solid every week. Yeah. Well, you work with a framework and then you build it up from there.
That's the best kind of gaming world.
Yeah.
I can really see this vivid in my mind's eye. This whole.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was my aim.
Women is really fun.
That was my aim. I wanted to give you all as much information as I could and allow you to build into it so that you all had a very good idea of what you were getting into. It felt livable, everything feels logical.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. I love it very much.
Okay. So we are... Yep. And if we don't get questions, that's cool. We can just talk for 20 minutes.
Yay!
Welcome to the aftercare session.
Yes.
Yeah. Where we hang out.
We're just hanging out now. So yes, did you enjoy that session? Any comments,
great.
criticisms, compliments, concerns? I mean, a lot of it's concerning, but
I am so happy with the Red Jade NPC land. Like, I love that I just made up an ex-girlfriend, and I love her so much. I'm so happy about Muriel and how wonderful she is. Because she just seems like the perfect hot mess counterpart to my character's hot messness.
yeah. Oh, good. We have some questions.
Oh, yay!
Okay, so these are from Pliant Reality. Let's see, I'm just going up to make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, so question 1, what is Granny's favorite god?
The gods are very annoying. So having a favorite one, it's difficult to say because they keep making all these very silly demands of me.
It's like having a favorite poison.
Exactly, and that is why they've also unionized.
Oh, right, of course.
Because these gods don't have the clout to have a prophet, right? That is why they've unionized to make me their prophet. I will say the one who has made the least demands of me is probably Riti, the god of words at the tip of your tongue, because usually his quests are like go in the dictionary and find a word. So those are very easy to do. The ones I don't like are from Amla, the god of sour fruit juice, because he often asks me to drink strange liquids and it is not very pleasant, which is why I don't use the esoteries he grants me very often, because he will make fewer demands of me then.
That makes sense.
I actually have 4 questions from Pliant Reality. Hold on. Felix, what is the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
His cousin Nestor, but he didn't realize it was his cousin Nestor. It's a long story, guys.
Oh no!
Nestor disguises something else. He disguises something that eats foxes, and so they scared the little. Felix was very young at the time. He was like maybe 6 or 7 months. Him and some of the other little foxes. Well, his cousin goes, "Hey, I'm going to scare all the newborns. They were blessed by gods. I'm going to give them a lesson." So he came in like he was a very large wolf, but he was not a large wolf, and all the little foxes turned like a pack of porpoises and left on him.
Oh no!
They better themselves, but they killed Nestor. However, Felix kind of enjoyed eating a little bit. He got a little snack. That's the weirdest thing he ate, and apart from that, it was grandma's good shoes that she hasn't realized she's lost yet. They looked like candy. Felix thought they were candy. They were sharing a room. He woke up in the middle of the night for a midnight snack, and he's just all these shiny shoes, and he was like, chocolate. And like,
yeah, because grandma always wears her sensible shoes. She rarely wears the good shoes, so she doesn't check on them very often.
And I'm saving to buy her new ones.
Beautiful. Also, thank you, Burst of Hope, who says, "I think it's amazing that you've put together a world so vividly. This continues to be great fun to watch."
That's so nice.
It's super nice. Thank you. It's a lot of fun to do as well. I think I'm a ball of anxiety at the beginning of every session that we've had, and then by the end, it's just so relaxing being with people who ultimately get the genre and tone and the world itself, that by the end of it I'm just completely relaxed. Let's see here. Trin, do you have any items that you regret making?
Actually, yes. So it was years ago, but on request from an elderly woman, she made a pair of coal-powered heated slippers. And now you see, Trin used to trust a lot in her customers having common sense when using her inventions. However, this woman unfortunately fell asleep on her sofa wearing these coal-powered heated slippers, and the couch caught fire. And it was extremely tragic. And
oh, no.
like she lived, but it was just really a waking moment for Trin to realize that maybe she needs to start installing more safety features because not all of her customers have as much sense as she would have thought.
And then, Kalia, how did you and Trin meet?
Trin and I would have met growing up sort of on the streets of what you named Skyro, you named the town you grew up in. Was it Maiden?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
we would have grown up. We grew up in a St. Lillian town. We would have met when I came there when I was probably about like 8 or 9. And she was kind of a street kid. For the first couple years of our friendship, I had a lot more than she did. My father was alive. I was a daddy's girl. And then when I was about 15, my dad died very violently and suddenly, and she kind of became my family when I had nobody else, then taught me how to get by on my own. At some point, she decided to pursue capitalist pursuits, and I decided to pursue stealing, but like moral stealing, like not like bad stealing, like Robin Hood stealing.
Yeah.
And at that point, we stopped being quite as inseparable, but we've always stayed in touch.
Okay. And this is a question for everybody. Do you feel like your PCs are playing out the way you expected?
Oh, man.
I don't know. I don't know if... Do you guys think that the grandma is being really scary and mean?
No, I actually think she's super charming, and that just might be you, Sharon.
Sharon, you're not scary. You're just not.
You're trying, though.
I put it like this. Fiddlix feels that if the 4 characters went into an alley, Grandma's the one that would walk out.
Oh, heck yeah. No, that's definitely true.
Yeah.
So he goes, 4 of us go into an alley, she's the one that comes out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, so...
You know, I think the funny thing about the adjectives really is that you don't need to be that all the time. You just need to be that strongest where it counts, right?
Yeah.
So you can be kind to children because they haven't done anything wrong yet. And that's mostly where Granny has been the most kind, is in dealing with the younger kids. Like, she seems to love kids because they aren't old enough to know that they're being so crappy yet.
Right.
There was a really tiny aside about playing mean. A couple of weeks ago, I was at Dreamation, which is a game convention in Jersey, and I played a LARP called Tomb Priestesses of the Nameless Dead. And in it, I started out, I'm like, I'll be a nice person, but as part of the game mechanic, like the Whispering Dead whisper evil things to turn you to evil, and I became really, really evil. Partway through, it just happened slowly, and at the end, the High Priestess, I convinced her to commit suicide for the good of the temple, and she looks at me and she's like, I trusted you, how could you do this to me? And my character was like, just staring at her, but Sharung, like, I literally viscerally felt this knot in my stomach, being like,
Yeah.
I was so mean, and it's hard being really mean, even in like game context.
For you. No.
For me.
Yeah.
Turning out a
How
lot
about
of fun.
the rest of you? Are your characters turning out the way you expected?
I feel like I've like never played a character that I believe to be a good person. It's never a thing that I have done. I play evil characters, crazy characters, children, and chaotic neutral rogue types. That's sort of my jam. And I tend to be the punchline. And so like I recognize that like she's not a normal paladin, but she is she's playing she's a meets out justice Cypher system, which is about sort of as close as you can get to like a paladin type character. And she's turning out great. I like her. I like that she's straightforward. She's the best. And I like that she has so many friends.
She has so many friends.
So many friends who I am not entirely clear why they tolerate her, but she has friends.
Oh, don't worry, I have mutiny mechanics. Trin, how do you feel about your character? Or sorry, Skyra, how do you feel about your character?
Yeah, well, in the beginning, I thought Trin was probably going to be kind of intimidating, and people might be a little bit scared of her because she's so monstery and demonesque. But it seems like everybody loves Trin, and she's just a total sweetheart. So it's gone a little differently than how I expected, for sure.
Yeah. And Grant, how do you feel about Fiddlix's path so far?
He's an animal, and I like that about him. I like on the Muppet Show. I'm going to make a reference, and this is important. Well, when you make a Muppet, like I've done a lot of puppeteering in my life, and I'm not going to pull out all my puppets, but you boil down the character into their true essence. Like Fozzie Bear's a vaudeville comedian, and Miss Piggy is a truck driver that thinks she's a lady. But she's a truck driver, you know? With Fiddlix, I'm just trying to, establish exactly what that defining noun is, exactly what he is. But right now, he is a fox who is proud of being a fox. And I think kind of the message behind him is he's neither good nor evil. He's simply a fox. This is what we do. And there is a food chain, and this is the law of nature. And and he even looks at things like human civilization. Oh, you built buildings. Those aren't artificial constructs. That's natural. You have developed to build these things. That's neat. Because that's the way his animal brain works. Right. He's a lot of fun to play. And I also like that we're starting to get into what I'll call creative problem solving. The reason I picked a fox is there's an old Greek myth that goes, the hedgehog knows one big thing, but the fox knows many things. So I like being crafty and getting in there and making a mess. And if it goes down, it will also be tremendous fun. So.
Yeah. And then we have a question. Did you come up with this world from scratch? I'm familiar with Numenera, and I was wondering if this is a jumping point from the Cypher book, or if this is inspired from something. I will say that I have been working on this setting for a long time. I recall being in high school nearly failing classes because I was writing this. And it took me a while, and I've been running it for almost every group I've ever run, kind of, I guess, pathologically. But eventually I came to the conclusion that if I wanted to run it as a good game for shared storytelling, that I needed to share the entire thing with people. That information needed to be free and given to them. So I wrote up a primer. I stripped it down to the skeleton. I wrote up a primer for only what I needed to get whatever tone I was going for from it, because that's all I needed. But then I really wanted whoever was playing with me to make it their own as well. And now we're all on the same page. It's been super worth it.
I think the team has made some really fun contributions, like our hot springs and all those.
Yeah, you'll encounter those a bit later. We're kind of on the opposite side of the world for that. Or rather, region. Specifically made it a region for size purposes. Regions are big.
Yeah, I loved our session 0 when we all just sort of like went through a bunch of different countries and we're like, what do we think's in here? And we came up with some stuff that I hope Marcie liked it. I mean, it's like, because especially now that I know that this is the world you've been building since you were 17, I'm like, oh god.
It's been a while.
Yep.
It was really fun to be a part of it, though, and like I feel like I, as a player, know things about what's out there that help me understand like how to play a character with this tone in this world.
Yeah, for me, it made me invested in the fiction of the world, and two, it informed all the possibilities of various characters I could play. Yeah. And as soon as we finished talking about Viad, I just saw this ghostly fox-like figure, different than how Fiddlix appears in the game, and it's a different character, but I just saw this ghostly fox white assassin. I was like, man, I want to be that guy. Then I realized I want to be a slightly different guy. I couldn't pull off the other guy.
Right.
I can pull off this guy though.
Yeah.
I also think it's kind of cool doing co-creation because that means we as players have knowledge about the world that our characters would have a little bit of.
Yeah.
People have heard about the hot springs, and people know that the god of balance is polyamorous, and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's sort of you get to know, and you get to sort of like. Yeah, well, I already said my thing, but I know what's out there, and that's nice.
The thing that I've learned most over years of GMing and also running improv troops is that the more informed the players are, the less you have to say no. And that's really important to me. Like the moment that I have to say no, I realize that there's a genre disconnect. I hate saying no. No can preserve genre, but if everybody's on the same page already, it's great. So like this is the best GMing advice I can give is make as much common knowledge as you can available to the players.
That is a good point.
Copyright Marsie Vellan.
Copyright Marsie Vellan. For Marsie Vellan's GM tips.
The book is on DriveThruRPG, $9.99. She should.
It seems crazy, but like it works for some reason.
I would buy it.
Yeah.
Got good advice.
And like sometimes I'm like, why do we even need to roll? Why don't you just tell me? Because I came from space. It's like every day.
I'm a firm
with this
believer
stuff.
of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Like roll as little as possible because every time you roll, you introduce a variable of chance that could throw people off unnecessarily.
Right. I'm happier. I always like. I like to roll for things that it's fun to have them be random, but I hate rolling for things that are things that I feel like characters wouldn't need to like fail at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's when there's a chance of success.
Yeah.
Or failure. And that failure needs to be interesting. Because
Right.
you can fail at something and it's not interesting, or you can make people take time to do it. Like, just take 10 minutes and you got it. That's why I didn't make Grandma roll for getting in and out of a window. Like, I'm not going to leave that up to chance. You can do it. Just take your time.
It's gonna take a while. Yeah.
It's going to take a while. I'm not going to make Grandma roll.
That's why GM intrusions are interesting because fun failures are interesting.
I love GM intrusions. I think I'm like psychically incapable of refusing them. I've yet to do it when playing any Cypher system, and like I will like even like the last one. I was like, no, I should say no to this. Like the one about the
Yeah, that was
there's
super
no
risky.
reason I should allow this to happen. But I was like, God,
GM
like
intrusions are also interesting because you need to pick and choose your battles when you're doling them
Right.
out because they can very easily snowball into the rest of the party. So you have to
totally.
you have to sort of be a sniper with them.
I love like our GM intrusion made for such a cool moment, right? Where Grant was like very quick thinking, in my opinion, had this great comeback, and I was like, wait, that's awesome.
Lying to authority figures? No, I'd never have any background in that.
But yeah, I just it's one of the Cyphers are the two things that I think are just like insanely awesome about Cypher system.
No, they're great. I personally love rolling low just as often as I roll high because I love failing. Failing can be much more interesting than success. And a big thing I always love is failing forward.
Yeah. That's sort of the story of my life, so it works. All right.
But yeah, I don't see any more questions coming out. So I think that's going to do it for us for tonight. I'll give like one more minute for any more questions as I sort of wind down from this very, I really adore a mix of thrilling and just relaxed play, and this session had both of those. Almost got your shit this time. I gave it to you, but how quickly can I take it away?
I love the ship. I love it. But yeah. I really want to know if you actually have 2 more verses of that, Grant. Do you actually have 2 more verses of that?
I hope to hear the rest later.
You gotta save them.
No, I don't think you have to save them. Can you save them for later on?
Yeah, like later on they will be.
I may never play that. I don't know what possessed me. I was like, oh, I've got some downtime here. I'm going to take the Feed the Birds songs from Mary Poppins and turn it into box. And,
it's good. It was so very good. It was very, very good.
I'm still recovering from my walking pneumonia. I was like, I don't have the pipes for this. Whatever. It's a role-playing game. Go out on your shield.
It was
very good.
All right. I think that just about does it for us. Thank you very much. Very special thank you to the MCG Monty Cook Games company for hosting us on their Twitch channel. Thanks to Darcy Ross that the overlay is more beautiful now because she went over it with a fine-tooth comb and made it beautiful. Thanks to our players Leora Holmes, Sharang Biswas, Skyra Moss, and Grant Ellis. Please follow them on Twitter. Their Twitter handles are up on the screen. If you want to follow me, you can do so as well. We'll be here for the next 2 weeks. And thank you very much. We will see you next week on the Owl of Lysia Cypher System live play. Yay! Thank you for watching. Goodbye.